How's it going? I just had one of those moments. I've been doing a lot of oil painting lately. You might have noticed. And I forgot that I was doing acrylics today. So I went to, my wet palette was totally empty and my water cup was empty. And I was like, oh my god, these things normally have stuff in them because I'm constantly acrylic painting. And I had to very, very quickly rectify that. And in the process, I spilled water all over my shirt, so I picked a better one. Am I out of focus? Am I blurry? Why am I blurry? Why do you do this to me, camera? What do you have against me? I've never been anything but kind to you. I need to get more of this camera, by the way. Hang on, let me refocus this. Those of you who have been paying attention may know that I recently picked up... Oh, here we go. There, is that better? That looks better. Excellent. May know that I recently picked up some of these AverMedia Streamer Cam 313s on sale from Costco that were recommended by Teal Security. I need to go to Teal Security's house and poke him in his eyeball with my finger. They seem like they're fine for streaming. Like at this distance from the camera to my face, this would be just fine, or a little bit further away. But the AverMedia Streamer Cam 313 has no zoom it has no focus function. It has a sharpening function. It has no autofocus, and it has no actual ability, even within its own software, to modify its focus. So I was getting my cameras ready because I'm starting to refurbish my game room right now to turn it into the streamer game room that I want it to be this summer. So I'm pulling out all the equipment and the cameras that I got to do that and testing them, and I put it up on, I was testing it with what I want my new BRB screen to be, which is where I've got my photo booth over here, and the idea is that from now on when I use my BRB screen, I should be able to take the model I'm painting, put it on my turntable, flip over to the screen, and give you guys a really nice rotating shot of the Mini that I'm working on while I go do what have you. I tried doing that, and then I discovered it has no focus function, and if you're up close to it, it's just like, here's a big, blurry, brightly colored mess. It was terrible, but I'm glad that I tested it now. I've got to find some more C920s. They're still just expensive. They're just expensive. Should have got the Kirkland brand camera. True streaming gear for true streamer. Are you joking to Square? Is that really a thing? Are there Kirkland brand cameras? There's Kirkland everything. Kirkland? Kirkland is the brand, man. Have you tried their fleece line jeans? Oh, mwah, mwah. They're beautiful. They're amazing, particularly if you live in a cold climate, obviously. I wouldn't wear them in like Florida. But up here, absolutely amazing. How are we doing tonight, folks? Yeah, I figured you were probably joking. But the thing is, to Square, like, you joke, but that also might be a thing. You know? Like soon that might be a thing. Oh my! Luckily, I'm still within the return window. I'm gonna drive him in there and be like, "Give me my fucking money back." I'm gonna buy some C920s for like $80 or whatever they're going for now. It's not as bad as it was when lockdowns kicked off and everybody was suddenly like working from home and doing Zoom calls. The prices were insane. They're still a little bit extreme. Roland was indeed first today. There, of course, is Datron Voltari, who's going to be back a little bit later. Data Nerd, good to see ya. Glad you got the grass mown. There, of course, is To Square and Metal Core Collectibles. How you doing today, man? It's good to see ya. I see that we've shifted away from the old name at this point. Cha-cha-cha-cha. Yeah, it's good to see you on a weekday, man. I don't have ProStream rigged up to a command yet. I do not have that linked up yet. Hang on a second. I've got a series of commands that I need to add to the stream. There we go. My camera's going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass today, it looks like. Hopefully not too bad. At least he's testing acrylic paints. Yeah, I should probably change that on days that I'm doing oil painting, so you don't think I'm over here just like slurping cadmium out of the tube. Wouldn't exactly be the most healthy thing. There, of course, is Sumitha. Good to see you. Good to see you. Tropic CBT, hello to you too. I hope you're having a good day. It is a nice shirt. This is a very nice, this is a fantastic shirt. I love this shirt. This and my hoodie, my Thunderhead Studio hoodie, provided by Kursala and Data Nerd, some of my favorite things. I wear them just constantly. If you would like a t-shirt like this, if you would like to rep this sweet brand, which who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to be out with their friends who don't play miniature games and be like, hey, this is the t-shirt for an obscure company that makes tiny little buildings for robot games that you don't know exist and paints little spacemen live on the internet. Okay, maybe don't think too much about it, you know? They're good t-shirts. And you can get them by hitting !merch. Right here in chat, you'll get a link over to Rainy River Designs. You can also hit !, Rainy River anytime you like to go ahead and get a link over to some of the other fantastic products available, like miniature paints, flocking, and really all sorts of business. All sorts of business. I'm glad we finally landed on a dice design, by the way. It's not the one that I would have picked necessarily, but I think we're probably going to do a few. What did I spill on my other shirt? It was kind of like nasty paint water. I was cleaning out my my paint swishing cup. It was just gross. And you know, we do a lot of weird stuff here at Thunderhead Studio. We don't generally do wet t-shirt contests, so I figured let's stay on brand and let's not diversify too much too fast. But you know, we could consider it down the road. How you doing, Wombat Combat Prime? It's good to see you. Rio in the house. I am, in fact, a Costco whore. I love Costco. I know that I'm probably killing, like, myself and the world and some poor children in a sweatshop someplace by shopping there. But have you guys had those Ziploc bags they have filled with bacon? Have you had these? Or have you just had the bacon that they have at Costco? All manner of crimes against humanity are permissible as long as I can keep getting those bags of bacon. Ooh, that and the Polish sausages. Those are the business. Today was a shit. Oh, yesterday was a shit fest. So what's today then, Roland? I'm sorry that yesterday was a shit fest. I try to avoid festivals of shit when possible. It's not always, though. Sometimes it's out of your control. Didn't mow all the grass. That's the backyard and part of the side. Need a tractor to do it all in one go. Yeah, I've got tomorrow, that's what I'm doing actually, Data Nerd. I've got to pull my Kubota out of the tractor shed. I've got to give it its annual, like, I've gone over it and I've done all the lubrication and greasing, but I have to go in and change out the air filter, check the oil, stuff like that. I just got done doing that to both of our riding mowers. Had to pull the air filters, drain the oil, pull the oil filters, change the fuel filters, do the whole rigmarole. Pulled off the blades, sharpened them, put it back on. We got the old one fired up, did a little bit of mowing, and the first thing it did was there must have been a nick in the deck belt, because it just poop through the deck belt right out from under the mower. I got another one of those coming Thursday I got to put on. That's going to be fun. We got a lot of rain recently, though, so all the plants are just shooting up out of the ground aggressively, and I have to meet them on the field with a blade in hand, elsewise they will gain way too much ground. We get a lot of goat head out here too. I don't know if you guys have that problem. Goat head or sticker burrs, as some people call them. It's got some other names. It's awful. Puncture vine, I think I've also seen it called. It's horrible shit. It just grows those nasty little super hard stickers, you know? And unfortunately, the person who lived here before we did just let it grow wherever and never did anything to control it. And those little seeds last for 7 years. Those horrible little sticker seeds that they grow, they go underground, and they will last for 7 fucking years. So I'm going to be killing that plant constantly for at least 7 years, and that's assuming that I don't miss any of the new ones from now to then, which I will and have. So that's just... that's just my life now, I guess. Ugh. Oh, what do we got going on here? Kind of weird when they put it that way. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hey, Sphere, good to see you, man. That's pretty much the same as my shirt that says, World's Most Okayest Miniature Painter. We put paint on minis. Sometimes. Oh my god, I keep forgetting what you told me to call you. 0001000. Was it 8? Was it 8U? Was it something like? You're gonna have to help me out. I'm sorry, I forgot. You told me what to call you, and I'm like, I'm gonna call him Binary Man. The Polish sausages are fucking tasty. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm catching up on chat here. Don't mind me. Yeah, the mower belt was a good time. Pre-immersion weed killer. What do you mean? What do you mean, Sphere? I've gone kind of scorched earth on them. Like, well, the trick is that they're really, really resilient, Goathead is, and they grow those taproots, so they grow straight down into the ground real far, and you have to get those, like, long pullers and jam them down and try to get as much of the root out as you can, otherwise they just pop right back up. 8U. Okay, yeah, thank you. I did remember. I just didn't realize that I remembered. No, I'm not promising you a special edition of Storm Report. I'm not going to promise that right now. It's something that I'm going to look at because we've actually, we do have some time before we hit the 1,500 follower goal. It's not really a goal. That's why I didn't phrase it as, it's not a follower goal. It's just a milestone. We are coming up, and I realized this looking earlier today. I was like, oh, that's my follower count at anyway. We're not that far from 1,500. And I just thought that we should take a moment and sort of commemorate and celebrate it together. And one of the things that I'm planning on giving out for the 1,500 follower celebration are some of the dice that I am going to have, that will be getting custom made by Chessex here shortly. I don't know how long it's going to take us to get to 1,500, and I'm not sure what the production turnaround time is looking like. It might be a couple months for Chessex, so I might not have them in hand by then. I don't know, depends on how fast things go. But we can still give some sets out. Some D6 sets with the Thunderhead Studio logo on one side. I'm also looking at getting some polyhedral sets put together, but we'll kind of see how this first run goes. I want dice with my logo on them one way or the other, so I figure I'll have them available to a certain degree. I don't think we're ever going to sell them. We might. That's not the plan right now. The plan is to have them for giveaway swag. I really just want the dice to be like, you know, a community thing. If you've been in the stream, if you've been a subscriber, if you've been hanging out in chat, I'd like for you to have the opportunity to get some Thunderhead Studio dice, because you're probably the only people in the world who give a shit about having Thunderhead Studio dice. Let's be honest. I can put my brand on everything. Trust me. I can't point at my own chest. That doesn't mean anybody wants it. Let's see. This weed killer helps with killing weeds before they sprout. Have to do it early spring to prevent them from coming up. Might work on them. How much would it damage other plants is the question, though, Sphere. They're really, really hardy, and almost anything that will kill Goathead will kill them as well. I also have a problem with bindweed, but the bindweed's nowhere near as much of a problem. You know, Morning Glory. At least it looks good shortly, and it announces itself every morning before I go out to kill it. You won't know it's there, and then one morning it's like, look at all these white flowers. Go kill. Literally all of them. I'm having a White Russian today, rolling. Something a little bit harder. Water softener salt if you don't want anything to ever grow there again. I've got a defoliant, like an annual defoliant that I use, Manro, on my driveways and such that does pretty good. We should go back to painting Battletech for 1,500 followers. So we're planning Battletech this Thursday, day after tomorrow. That's the plan, is we're going to be getting back to doing Battletech in oils. Now that I've had a little bit more practice with oils, I'd like to get back to doing some more hard surface stuff. I'm going to be doing a lot of oil painting in the near future as I continue to learn how to. And I hope that that's interesting, because I really am trying to kind of distill it down to the like most idiot-proof possible methods. I need those methods, otherwise I can't paint things. Not too many war crimes with Costco. When he worked for Keurig, had to give multiple factory tours and disclose reports of where everything used came from before we could produce Kirkland brand stuff. Oh, okay. I haven't actually heard anything bad about Costco. Everybody I know who's worked for them has reported that they have like pretty good pay packages and employee protections and programs and stuff like that. I don't want to hear anything bad about Costco, because that means I'm going to have to stop buying their bacon. And I'm totally honest with you guys when I say I don't want that. I want to be able to continue to buy the bags of pre-cooked bacon bits that I can then throw into tomato soups and on grilled cheese sandwiches and in basically everything that I eat. Oh man, I sound healthy, don't I? Yeah. Maybe I should check my blood pressure. Want like 4 sets of Thunderhead Studio? We'll see what we can do for you, White Wolf. Transparent dice are higher quality since they can't skimp on manufacturing. I've been thinking about that, Vergaderung, and I put up the poll to see which dice people prefer. It should be noted that I never actually agreed to abide by the results of the poll. Which might make you wonder why I did it in the first place. I was just kind of curious. I will make a decision on which set we go with first, and whatever the other set is, I'll probably kick that back to a second run. There's no reason we can't have multiple runs of dice. No reason at all. In fact, sometimes it's nice to have a few different colors to work with. Had to drop 500 to fix your car. Roland, what's wrong with it? What happened? Oh, sounds very Roman. Salting the earth. No, that's paying your soldiers in salt is what that is. Thunderhead Delenda-esque. God, I hope not. We get to watch Thunderhead and Chronicles of Riddick at the same time. I like that movie. Shock 21, that's a cool... You've seen it before, right? I hope you have. I did just get a full run of blood tests. In all seriousness, I did just get a full run of blood tests, Data Nerd, and I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I don't actually eat handfuls of bacon all the time. I do love just taking a little bit of that for like put it in a grilled cheese sandwich with a slice of tomato. It's wonderful. Just wonderful. Fantastic Shock. It's a fun movie. It's a stupid movie. It's a fun movie, though. David Twohy is a jackass. I don't know if you've ever watched Shock. I don't know which version of the movie you have, but there's one where he does an intro to the film, where he talks about, like, you know, oh, the studios wouldn't let us do this or the other thing, so enjoy. And he ends it with, like, so enjoy this director's cut of the Chronicles of Riddick. You can just tell that this guy takes himself way too seriously for how absolutely silly his writing is. I'm not saying it's bad. I like his writing. But he needs to calm the fuck down a little bit. I think he probably has, since he hasn't made basically any money since that third Riddick movie. What is David Twohy doing? Can somebody check, see if David Twohy has written anything in like the last 10 years? Because if it's happened, I missed it completely. Berserker? What's up, my man? I haven't seen you in chat for a while. How you been, buddy? The purple black is pretty Vergaderung. It is, though I confess I'm very partial to solid colors, and I do kind of like the notion that the transparent dice, you'd be able to see the bubbles in it more easily. So logically, they'd have to do some greater QC on that. Handfuls of bacon somehow just pictured Popeye and his spinach, except handfuls of bacon. Hey, strong to the finish, cause I eat me. I just said finish. I didn't even say finish. I'm just gonna stop. I'm just gonna stop there. That joke was never gonna work. It seemed like a good idea when it started coming out of my mouth, but it was going nowhere. So let's just take a step back. Let's let the joke die, and let's move on with the stream. Hope you don't mind my little milestone counter there. Just keep an eye on it till we get to 15, and we can confetti will just kind of come shooting out from cannons on either side of me. That'll be fantastic. Dabber Raccoon, yes. We're talking about some Thunderhead Studio branded dice that we're going to be getting made here pretty soon. Look, I printed a thing. I mean, I print lots of things. You guys know that. I've been doing bases, though, and I needed a human noble on foot for, excuse me. I don't know how long it's going to take, Data Nerd. I just kicked it to the end of next month. It's not really, that's the thing. It's not like, it's set up to be a goal, so it has an end date. It's not really a goal. Like, I'm not expecting a war clock. Ooh, that would be a cool idea if I could get a widget set up that looked like the war clock. That's a neat idea, Rio. It's not really a goal, like something that I'm shooting for. I hope that it happens. I'm not really like pushing for it. It's just, it looks like it's coming up at the rate that we're going, and I'd like to, celebrate it when it happens. We can drop the ball in Times Square when we took over 1500. It'll be fun. But we'll be dropping the balls at Thunderhead Studio. It's very different while also the same. Yeah, Dabber Raccoon. I will definitely be posting up about those on my Facebook and my Instagram and on the Discord when that does happen, so please keep an eye out. And if the first run goes well and people like them, we're likely to do some more runs in different styles and probably a set of polyhedral dice, because as with everything that I do, I want it, and because I want it, I'll make extras, because I don't know, maybe you guys want it too. Riot's sister.
Hello there.
How you doing today, Riot sister? So I needed a human noble for Conquest, the Last Argument of Kings. And they have a model of their own for the human noble on foot. They have human noble mounted, cavalry, and they have a human noble on foot. And this is one of the only cases where I've looked at their models, and I just was not a huge fan of the human noble on foot figure that they have for the game. It's a good sculpt, but I'm not totally in love with it. It's also $25 for one model, so it's a little rough if you're not getting him as part of a package, or if you're not also ordering a bunch of plastic to go with it. So I'm like, I kind of want to save those hero purchases for when I'm buying a bundle from them. That's usually when it costs less. Good figures, though, overall. And so I'm like, okay, I need somebody else. Maybe there's something I can 3D print. So I go looking online. First of all, I'd like to note, I think I talked about this last time I was streaming, it's weirdly hard to find low fantasy human figures 3D printable formats in STLs. You go looking at, like Artisans Guild and so on and so forth, and you'll find lots of fantasy humans, but they're all, like, really high fantasy. They're, like, either Warhammer or World of Warcraft inspired, so they're like, oh, I'm a man, and my shoulder pads go up to here, and I've got scroll work hanging from my neck, and all my balls are gilded with spikes on them, and I'm like, that doesn't really fit with Conquest at all. Conquest is very low fantasy for the humans, but I found this guy, and I need to go ahead and put pseudo-historical nanotanks. In my mind, low fantasy humans should be historically plausible. Let's use that phrase, because historically accurate doesn't make any sense. There's no such thing as accuracy in fantasy. You can do anything you fucking want. But low fantasy humans should generally, in my opinion, have armor that you look at it and it might be a little fantastical, but it's like, that's something somebody could make and probably would use. Okay, fair enough. And The Witcher has a lot of that. The Witcher is high fantasy, but the human element of it is very sort of low fantasy until you get into, like, Nilfgaard, and then everything's high gothic shit. Well, unless you're watching the show, and then you get into Nilfgaard, and all their soldiers wear scrotums on their chest, and what look a lot like dickheads on their head. I hope they fix that in Season 2. They look bad in Season 1. Like, I loved Season 1, I enjoyed it, but it's Nilf. N is in November, Roland. Nilfgaard, not Milfgaard. Jesus, I can't take you people anywhere. Anyway, the point is, I found this really cool Vernon Roach. He's really well detailed. I was able to very easily scale him up to fit in with Conquest, and I really, really like him. So this is going to be my human noble on foot for Conquest, and he's gonna go... where is it? He's gonna get his little hero base here, and he's gonna stand up here with his sword over his shoulder and command my human forces. But this guy was free. There's somebody on... I'll post the link on Discord if people are interested. There's a dude on My Mini Factory who has a bunch of files for sale, and then he did a couple of these Witcher 2 or 3, whichever, figures. He did Vernon Roach, he did Yorvith, the Scoia'tael leader, I think he did one or two others, and he just made those available for free on top of the other stuff that he does. Which makes sense to me, since this is, a sculpt of a figure that he does not own, he did not design, so he's like, look, I just made this because I love it, you can have it for free. Just taking out a little bit of support that I missed. But that's not what we're working on today. We're just talking about that briefly. I'm going to be working on some Warcaster and acrylics here. I just don't want to leave any more of these connections on than I have to. The longer I leave them on, the more cured they'll be, and the bigger a pain in the ass they'll be to take off. This is one of the wonderful things about 3D printing, too, is the fact that Conquest is in 39 to 40 millimeter is not as big a deal. I don't have to find minis that fit into the range. I can find any mini, and I can just scale it up until he's the right height, which is exactly what I did. Have I mentioned lately that I love 3D printing? I feel like maybe I haven't said that enough in the last year and a half. How you doing today, Riot Sister? It's good to have you. Plank Walker, you lurk away, my friend. Always good to know that you're lurking in the back of the room, watching me, you know, breathing real heavy. I have to say, I got the Elegoo Saturn 1 Cure Station, and all it really is a turntable and a couple of, like, it's the kind of thing where if you wanted to spend a little bit less money and build it yourself, it wouldn't be hard to do. It's a very simple mechanism. But I didn't want to spend less money and do it myself. I wanted to spend slightly more money and just have them deliver me something that works, so I did that. I've been talking with people about... I've had really conflicting reports on whether the Elegoo Neptune 2 style wash and cure station is good for water washable resin, which is what I have very much fallen in love with using. I really like the Elegoo water washable. I have had conflicting reports because I hear that, like, you don't... You don't want to wash and cure at the same time with water washable, just because you're like, the water is both washing away the resin and simultaneously softening and dissolving the resin underneath, and you can wind up with like weird film on it. So I guess you'd have to wash and then cure separately. And I've heard that some people have had problems with water washable, and then I got a friend down in Florida who says that it works just fine. I don't know. I need a few more reports on whether or not it's a good idea before I upgrade from the Neptune 1 to the not Neptune, Saturn, from the Saturn 1 to the Saturn 2. No, it's not Saturn. It's Mercury. There's the Elegoo Mars, that is their baseline small printers. There's the Elegoo Saturn, that's their larger format printer. And then there's the Elegoo Mercury, and that is their cure and wash station. And then the Elegoo Neptune is their FDM printer. I'll eventually keep these straight. And then, of course, there's the Elegoo Uranus, which is specialized in print. You know what? No, I'm not going to finish that joke. Because it's not a good joke. That's a bad joke. That's a disgusting joke. Why do people even watch this channel? Anyway, we're going to be painting Vernon Roach here at some point in the near future. And I'm excited about that, because this is one of my favorite characters in The Witcher, and I love his outfit. We were just saying Nanotank's historically accurate, historically plausible fantasy figures, so on and so forth. Vernon Roach's outfit is what I call historically plausible. It is a fantasy costume, but it is composed of real things that people definitely wore, kind of mixed together from a period of like 200 to 300 years in Europe, while still being just a little bit extra. Alright.
Do you like sexy battle mechs, sexy streamers, and sexy Solaris cheerleaders? Well, Thunderhead Stream has some of those things, and more.
I did a thing with my hand, but it was off camera. That doesn't help anybody. Alright, got my wet palette here. Haven't used this for a little over a week. That's an interesting experience. Normally I'm using it all the time. Go ahead and add a bit more moisture to it. Actual historical armor often look pretty nuts. Wasp waists and cod pieces. This is true nanotanks, though I think you probably know that there is a significant difference between historical armor, as in suits of armor that nobility paid large quantities of money to have made to very particular specifications so that they could ride with it like on parade, and armor, which is what most people wore who could afford it so as not to die when fighting other people to the death. Many suits of armor, in fact, most of the ones that have survived to today, are this type of suit of armor that a noble would pay a great deal of money to someone to make very fashionable so that he could wear it in parades and then put it on a stand or a mannequin in his hall, and it would sit there and look pretty and be cool because it was a fashion statement. And that's why those suits of armor survived, is because no one ever fucking wore them to fight in. They wore them to look pretty. They maybe wore them to a joust, which was also kind of a fashionable event. And then they hung them up in their, banquet hall and were like, hey, look at my armor. Vernon Roach doesn't strike me as that kind of a guy. Vernon Roach is the kind of guy who only wears things because he wants to not die. And that often doesn't look as sexy, and usually, even in the late period, involved a lot of leather. And this is something people don't think about sometimes, is how many examples of armor we will never have physical examples of, because it was based on a leather harness, or a leather base, or it had lots of leather components, or it just was made of hardened leather. That shit didn't survive, because it's leather. It just rots over time. It gets we've recovered some of it, like specific pieces that like got buried at the bottom of a bog and preserved for a long period of time, but 99.999% of it either rotted away or was repurposed for something else. One of the best historical sources that we have for armor in the period of the transitional period from 14th to 15th century comes from a battle in a place called Visby, Sweden. And it's fascinating how much of it survived, because in this very unique case, there were, and you can look this up, this is fascinating, look up the Visby armor finds. In this particular case, for whatever reason, and there is a great deal of disagreement amongst historians why this happened, after the battle, for some reason, many of the corpses were not stripped of their armor before being just sort of dumped into mass graves. They were buried nearby, and they were buried in their gear. There are a lot of theories as to why this would have happened. Normally this didn't happen. Normally bodies would have been stripped of their gear. And generally speaking, some would have found their way into a mass grave, but a lot more would have been removed. I think the most popular theory the last time I read about it, and this might have changed because, as you know, history changes constantly as it leaps directly out of the imagination of historians. The last plausible theory I heard was that for whatever reason, after the battle, they weren't able to recover the bodies of the fallen for a long period of time. What that reason is, we don't know. But they just sat out there probably for like a week or more, and by the time they got to dealing with the bodies on the battlefield, it was a situation where you're like, I'm not gonna take that leather coat off of that bloated corpse. Like, what? I'll tell you what, we'll dig a big hole, we'll kind of shove them all in there, and then we'll just bury it and we'll move on. This was not common. But as a result of this very strange circumstance, we have a number of really, really great examples of armor from that period that we didn't find almost anywhere else. I've owned multiple pieces of armor based on finds from Visby. It's a fascinating dig. All right. Yellows. I'm going to start a little bit deeper with my yellows than I did the first time because I had to wash those down. And I think I'm actually going to start with kind of a mixture of rust brown and maybe this heavy gold brown. Where's my yellow ochre? There it is. Yeah, I'm going to mix these two together. And we're going to get started doing the glow effects on the other two guys for this squad of Iron Star Alliance Paladin Defenders. Oh, Jesus. Bunch of rusted weapons and armor, blood, effluvia, put all that together, toss in a bone, baby. You got a stew going. And the soup bowl now. Oh, what a pleasant conversation. I'm so glad that we started talking about this. My codpiece is very authentic. Rather than gold brown. Nanotanks is absolutely correct. Two of the best things you can do against somebody in actual full plate armor is, and this probably isn't really all that interesting, but I always found it interesting. Two of the best things that you can do to somebody in full plate armor is either use a smashing or blunt weapon and strike them in, like, the elbow or the knee, or the goal being to take the most delicate, articulated pieces of armor and to compact them and bend them so that the joints seize up, and then you can sort of kill them at your leisure. Or, yeah, wrestle with them. Get in real close, wrestle them to the ground, take a small, pointy object and work it in at the eye, underneath the helmet, into the jugular, into the armpit, or up into the groin. Those are some of the best places. It's very, very difficult, as it turns out, to armor certain parts of the body, like the insides of the joints and the backs of the legs. Or, I mean, yeah, you could set them on fire, Roland. I guess you could do that, too. Welcome to Thunderhead Studio, where we're going to talk about the best ways to kill somebody in full armor, something you're definitely going to need to know by 2025. Hey, man, shit's getting weird out there. I don't know, you might need this. All I'm saying is when fucking Vernon Wells and the Lord Humongous show up in their Mad Max armor looking for gasoline, you're going to remember this day, and you're going to be like, thank God I listened to Thunderhead. Need this info now, thank you very much. How you doing today, Chewie? How to kill someone in full armor 101. I do advise, most instances of people fighting in armor in television and film are garbage. Most instances. They're just pure fantasy, swinging their swords around. It's like, this is not how you would kill one another. If you're interested in seeing a somewhat fantastical dramatization of fairly realistic techniques for two men in armor to kill one another, watch The King with Timothée Chalamet and Robert Pattinson. It's on Netflix, I want to say. You don't even have to watch the whole movie, though I suggest you do. It's a great movie. In the first 10 minutes, there's a fight between two men in full armor, and while it goes on longer than it probably would, what they're doing to one another is, yeah, like that's what you would do. It would be about like that. I take Conan the Barbarian as historical fact. You say that, Chewie? You say that as a joke. I feel like you're saying that as a joke. But it's interesting you mentioned Conan the Barbarian, which was made by, Roland, help me out. Walter from The Big Lebowski, the actual guy. You know who I'm talking about, Roland. Oh my god. John Milius, thank you so much. Yeah, Conan the Barbarian, made by John Milius, actually has some fairly solid sword work in it. I'm talking about the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not as bad as you might think. Some of it's silly, and obviously it's a high fantasy movie about snake sorcerers, but the sword fighting when they do it is decent. It's not too over the top. Poleaxes, bollock daggers, and firearms are what you... I mean, firearms kind of change everything. Firearms are just good. Just good at killing people, in general. Nobody's happy if they get shot. It's just ironic that you picked that in particular, Chewie, because that's a good one. It didn't have to be, but it was. I'm not going to swish my brush in my drink. Don't do that. I thought about it, and then I thought, no, I don't want to do that. Didn't turn into quite what I was hoping, so I think I'm going to go with something just darker. Like heavy sienna. Let's start with sienna and work our way up from there. I think we'll get a good glow that way. You know what? Hang on 1 second. I want to make sure my air conditioner's on, because it's getting a little warm in here, and if it gets too much warmer, I'm going to have a bad day. I'll be right back. There we go. That should be better. Alright, I'm going to start doing this glow with what is basically just a nice, deep kind of reddish brown. But I think that's going to yield a better glow once we work our way all the way up to yellow. Oh, need a place to put my elbow. How long left on the print? Almost a full day, Savage Swing. That thing's going to be going for a while. That is Justice Tower. It is quite large. This first step I'm not going to linger on too long. It can be kind of sloppy. So how is everybody doing today now that I'm done ranting about random bullshit? So I was contacted by Parabellum War Games yesterday, and I only mention this because I think I'm probably going to go ahead and do it, and they offered me an affiliate code for Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings, which was very flattering. And I'm always a little hesitant about things like that. You'll notice I really don't do sponsorships or anything like that here on this stream. Like, anything that involves putting someone else's logo up, or having to have an advertisement, or having to mention something during my stream, I'm just like, nope, not doing it. But their affiliate program, after I inquired about the details of it, is pretty good. Insofar as... Oh, do I have specific setting for FDM terrain prints? Rangonius, there is a profile available from Steel Warrior Studios you can download for FDM terrain printing that is really pretty perfect for printing hex text specifically. Depending on the scale, I'll have different settings. If I'm printing something for 6mm scale, I'll usually set my layer height to 0.12mm. What else? Around 50mm a second for speed. I'll set it to 4 to 5 sidewalls. I will set the top layers to at least 5, and I will use cubic subdivision infill at about 10%. Those are my general settings. That, and I'll usually turn on ironing. And if I need to have supports, I'll make sure that I've tuned my support interfacing, which is something you should become familiar with. If you're not, it's very, very useful when you have to have supports. But, so I was talking to them, and I was like, okay, what are the stipulations? They don't require me to actually shill a product or anything like that. What they're offering is a code, much like Walter's Workshop has, that is just a code you can use if you go to Parabellum and buy Conquest stuff directly from them, that just gets you 10% off the order. And it kicks me a little percentage of that sale in turn. And I kind of like that, because it's just something that I could give to you guys that would reduce the amount that you're spending on the product by 10%. And I'm thinking I might as well go ahead and do it, since they're not requiring anything else out of me. Because I like the product. I genuinely like the quality of the minis. I genuinely like the game, and I'm going to be talking about it anyway. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that. It'd be the first affiliate program offer that I've accepted. Like I said, usually they come with asinine stipulations that I don't want anything to do with. Use gyroid info. I hear that one's pretty good too. I like cubic subdivision because if there's a big void space, it won't put supports there. It'll kind of save you a little bit of material. I just thought I'd mention it because I haven't done anything like that with the stream thus far, and I don't want to take anybody by surprise, or you think that I'm selling out or shilling for anybody, because I won't be. I'll just be able to save you a little bit of money if you decide to get into Conquest. Jungle Plague talking about Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings from Parabellum Wargames. I haven't actually accepted it yet, and honestly, I mean, you know, technically they could be like, we changed our minds, like, in an hour from now, and it would never be a thing. But they have offered it, and I am considering it. I sent them a couple of final questions before I give them any sort of an answer. It's a good game, Jungle Plague. How you doing today, man? It's definitely not, like, I think it's a well-priced game, but the fact that it's well-priced doesn't make it cheap to get into. So I don't think it's a hard recommend for literally everybody, but everything that I've bought from them and everything that I've used has all been a high enough quality that I do not mind recommending it. And I wind up buying from them a lot of the time because their bundle deals are actually pretty good. I maintain that their hero figures are overpriced, but they're also, like, resin cast, and they tend to drop the price down when they're selling them as part of a bundle. Aw, lurking but loving my face. Zombie Brush Studios, good to see you, my man. How you doing? Can we get a shout out? Pretty please for the one, the only Zombie Brush Studios. The studios where the zombies come back to life and eat your brains. So there's a question for you, chat. And I want you to answer this. If you have an opinion, I want to know what your opinion is, okay? Are you ready? Are you ready for the question? Because here it comes. I just put paint on my shirt. The question. Is Night of the Living Dead or Return of the Living Dead? Of the Dead or of the Living Dead? As the two series would diversify. I am a mess today, it's terrible. Night of the Comet, good answer. I would also have accepted, what is it, Day of the Creeps? Night of the Creeps? That's a good one. Wanted to get some painting done tonight, but my wife went to hang out with friends, and children desired me to play Mario with them, which, you know what, that's not bad, though, Graham. I can think of way worse times. I can word today real good. Way worse times to... Way worse ways to spend your time. Those are the words that I'm trying to say. Congratulations to me. Spread that love of video games down to a new, fresh generation. Pollute their minds as ours were polluted. Night of the Lepus. Oh, no. You might as well say Day of the Triffids. Get the fuck out of here with Night of the Lepus. No. Yeah, Chewy, it's rank and file fantasy wargaming. That's what, if you've seen these bases that I've been working on, that's what this is for. A standard tray of infantry models is 4 to a tray. And then these link together, you can see these little connections I have on the bottom. These link together to form regiments. And depending on the shape of your regiment, how wide it is, how deep it is, different things can happen and they'll have different effects in game. Like, for example, infantry regiments often benefit from being very wide, so they can deal a whole lot of damage with a lot of men on the front line. But they can still get benefits from having deep ranks where they can support one another, whereas cavalry tends to benefit more from having a narrow front but then deep ranks, because it gives them more momentum when they hit a formation. But you can, like, reconfigure your formations in the middle of the game and stuff, and then, because it's a fantasy game, then there's shit like this. This is something that the Spires have available to them. This is their unit in the starter box, the Abomination. It's a very imaginative setting. This is a fucking bizarre model that I'm looking forward to actually getting some paint on. By the way, I don't think I've shown this one on stream. I posted some pictures on Instagram, but I didn't show it off. I did finally get this finished assembling. I'm thinking about doing a little bit of green stuffing on some of the joints just to kind of blend them a little bit better. I don't know if I'm going to bother, honestly. It's a pretty well well-designed model. It doesn't have that many gaps or anything like that. Butt face. Why do I state myself terribly when I do that? It does look like a butt. I think I figured it out though. What the concept was is that if you look at it from this direction, it looks like a bug face. You see it? It's got the compound eyes and the mandibles and like the weird little proboscis. I think this is the artistic concept, is that it's like a bug head turned upside down and then with this unsettling face mask beneath it, because this is supposed to be... This is the same lore as the old Chaos Dreadnought from Warhammer 40k. Do you guys remember that? I don't know what the lore for the Hellbrute is now, but the old Chaos Dreadnought lore was that they put somebody in it who didn't want to be there, and then they endured constant suffering while they were trapped in the construct. For the Spires, this is a prison construct for a Spire elf who is being punished. They mutate them. What did I say? Oh, it's a... Wait, what clip is that, Riot Sister? Did I make that? I don't remember doing that. Oh, wait. No. I remember it now. Yeah, something has to be done about... Yeah, no, I do remember making that clip now that I look at it. It looks like a butt, but I'm going to try to paint them as compound eyes to get across that they're supposed to be more insectile. But yes, the Spire Elves use biomancy and flesh crafting. So they combined a bunch of animals with the basic morphology of an ant. So this is like a big mutant ant monster that they stuff some poor bastard inside of. It's supposed to make them more docile and obedient. Also, I learned that many of the Spire Elf designs originated... This also comes with a tray. Many of the Spire Elf designs originated from a series of dreams that the creator had. He calls them dreams. I'm pretty sure he meant to use the word nightmare. But hey, I dig it. Hamburg Tang. Good to see you. How you doing, man? Did I miss something? I'm always missing stuff. It's your own fault for chatting so much, gosh. Make them each as one bit. Yeah, I could just put googly eyes on there. That's a great idea. Just stick them on there with, like, hot glue. How you doing today, Hamburg? It's good to see you, man. You want aliens? Because that's how you get aliens. Crazy Spire Elves. Out of their damn minds. They got some new factions coming out soon that look pretty exciting, too. They just released their new faction, the Wahadrun, who are... like South American, native South American culture inspired orcs who ride dinosaurs. And I confess, that's the first time I really looked at the game, is when I realized what that faction was, and that's when I got interested in it, is when I was like, oh my god, I can have orcs riding dinosaurs, why has no one told me about this? They're really, really cool models. And I'm likely to get some of those after I've worked through the models I already have. It's weird, though. I find myself very attracted to the basic human faction in Conquest. Which might seem strange, because the other factions are so off-the-wall, insane, and unique, and you would think, well, you know, do the unique one, not the generic one. But this is one of the few times where I find that the generic nature of the human faction actually serves the whole setting really very well. Insofar as the other factions are so insane, are so off the wall, that if that's all you had, the universe would be less interesting to me. Sort of like the universe for Project Dark Fox, good to see you. Skull Fairy, oh my god, you're right, I'm not wearing a glove. Why didn't anyone tell me? I'm gonna get paint on my hands. How you doing today, Skull Fairy? Good to have you in chat. Oh, now Data Nerd's all about it, okay. Yeah, the orcs riding dinosaurs, they're also really nice models. But I thought about it, and it's like, I'm not really a huge fan of, say, the Age of Sigmar range. And one of the things I disliked about that range when it first got started was that they completely eliminated the human, you know, the Imperial human faction from the game. And that used to be a faction that I quite liked in Warhammer Fantasy. But Age of Sigmar replaced them with Stormcast Eternals, who are, basically just fantasy space marines. They're huge, and they're superhuman, and they've got magical powers, and okay, fine, everything's over the top, and they fight giant demons, and mutant rat men, and blah, 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 blah. So, big, tough, muscle, flex, Superman fighting big, tough, muscle, flex, demons, or whatever. It loses something for me. And I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was about the 100 Kingdoms in Conquest that appealed to me, and I kind of think I figured it out insofar as they're fucking boring and their world isn't. They're relatable. They're a sort of contextual element for the game. They are, they're not just fantasy humans. They're fantasy humans with a particularly grounded, historically inspired aesthetic. More so than most of the other ranges I've seen, they wear armor and they have weapons that are like, oh, these are based on things that really existed. And as a result, it's extra crazy when you put them next to things like the Spire vat-grown drones, or abominations, or the Wahadrun orcs riding velociraptors, because you're like, hold on, this is just some guy. This is just some dude with like a sword and a shield, and he's got like 10 other dudes with him who are just dudes with swords and shields, and they're fighting 20-foot tall alien elf ant mutants and orcs riding on T-Rexes. I don't know, it kind of makes those factions more horrifying to me when I think about, like, the people who have to fight these guys are just normal dudes. They're not Supermen. They don't have crazy magical powers. They're just bros. They're undergoing an economic revolution, so they're probably better armored and armed than any of their predecessors, but that's all they have is some steel to fight abominations that would make you crap your pants. And for whatever reason, as a result of that, I have become quite taken with the 100 Kingdoms faction, and I think that's probably going to become my main. Hey, Shadow Fox, good to see you. How much are these chickens? Which chickens you talking about there, Lorenzo? We talking about the dino chickens? I would just note, if any of you are interested in purchasing any Conquest stuff, either go over to Walter's workshop and get his affiliate code and use it for 10% off, or wait a little while and I will, in theory, have my own affiliate code to get you 10% off. That's really the reason that I want to do it, is if I can make the game a little bit more affordable, a little cheaper for you guys, that seems worthwhile to me. If I didn't like the game, I wouldn't fucking bother. Steel and courage. They got rid of the Imperials, but they had hats with feathers in them. I agree, they were awesome. They had style. They had that, like, Holy Roman Empire look to them, with a bit of the high fantasy mixed in. And yeah, they're just gone now. They're not a thing anymore. Age of Sigmar, I don't like the setting. I don't want to say anything bad about the setting, like, it's dumb and you shouldn't like it, because if you like it, and that's fine. But, it has never grabbed me. The closest I've ever gotten to getting into Age of Sigmar was I thought about picking up some of the rat folk. And, I don't know, just... yeah. At the time when that was happening, Rune Wars still existed, and I loved Rune Wars. It doesn't now. Rune Wars is dead as disco, unfortunately. But Conquest has been a nice little venture back into the realm of rank-and-flank fantasy wargaming for me. Hey, Gus, good to see you. They're back again? Cities of Syria? Oh, they're adding them back in? Well, I still don't care. So no, that's cool, though. Like, I'm glad that they're doing that. That was always one of my least favorite changes for Age of Sigmar. Because I like playing humans in fantasy settings, but I did not want to play as the Stormcasts, and so I did not get in on the ground floor. Reptilian Overlords has made a lot of really, really good STL sets. Did you ever get into the War Machine/Hordes universe? I tried, Chewy. This is the most into the War Machine/Hordes universe I've ever been, because this is the same universe. But it's 5,000 years in the future in another galaxy. I tried, I was not a big fan of the gameplay of Warma Hordes. I had a Legion of Everblight force that I built and painted. I had a bad experience with the community behind the game, and I think that a lot of people could echo this at a certain point. I basically tried to get creative with my paint jobs on my Legion of Everblight force, and I got told by some grognards that I had painted them wrong, and they were really quite rude. And then I still tried to play the game a few times, and it was just that experience that everyone came to expect from Warma Hordes, where, you know, it's like, well, you're gonna get stomped the first 50 games you play, and I got stomped over and over and over again. And I was just like, I don't give enough of a shit to get good enough at this game to stop getting my shit completely ruined. So I did not carry on with it. I was not a fan of the sudden death mechanic. I was not a fan of the tendency for the game to snowball. I remember comparing it to, it's like playing Magic the Gathering, but with miniatures. And I had stopped playing Magic the Gathering entirely by then. So I never really got into it. I think the system is fun when you're playing to have fun. This is the thing with miniature games in particular, is you gotta have people who want to play for the same reason that you want to play. You gotta have people who are looking to have fun, not people who are just looking to win, not people who are looking to prove a point, and unfortunately the game group that I had access to was looking to prove a point. And I hope that they, you know, felt good about proving it. Because I was pretty much gone after that. Yeah, it was, you know, it was around the same time that Guild Ball came out, because Guild Ball was a big deal at my FLGS at the same time, and I painted a number of Guild Ball figures for, that was when I was doing a lot of commission painting. I painted a number of Guild Ball teams. I still have a bunch of Guild Ball figures in a box somewhere. I never played the game, but I did paint a lot of the minis. So yeah, I never really got into Warma Hordes. I like Warcaster quite a lot. It's a very different game. It still has the aesthetic that I enjoy, for the most part. It's a little toned down. I was not a huge fan of the aesthetic of the Warjacks. Everybody knows they were really, really stylized to the extreme. They had tiny little waists and huge shoulders. They still do that to a degree with Warcaster for the Warjacks, but it is significantly toned down. Their proportions are a little more to my liking. Yeah, it got crazy competitive. Infinity can be that way, but also seems more level. Biggest learning curve for Infinity is learning the rules and understanding how to complete the objectives. Yeah, that stopped me from getting into Infinity a couple of times, but I've never come away from Infinity with, like, the opinion that I don't like this game. Just that this game is demanding a lot of me, and I don't have that much to give right now. I keep thinking about giving Infinity a try again. I know that they've released, what is it, Code 1, Code 0, Code Red, Baja Blast, whatever it's called. They're sort of not modified version of the rules, but slightly simplified or stripped down version of the rules to get newbies in. I've thought about trying that a few times. It seems like a good... The fact that it's mostly metal miniatures and it's survived for as long as it has, and I never hear anybody say anything bad about the game, like, that bodes really well for me. I love Infinity Baja Blast. You can only get it at Taco Bell, though. But thankfully it's set in the future, and as we all know, after the franchise wars, all restaurants are now Taco Bell. Are you in here, Firestarter? Are you in chat? Because if you are, I'm glad that you now get that reference because we made you watch that movie. Mountain Dew Cake Smash. Wait, no, is that really a thing? That doesn't sound good. Mountain Dew Cake Farts. Nobody Google that. I'm sorry I said it. Nobody Google it. It's not a thing you need to know about. Had Demolition Man on VHS. Ooh. Old school. Deep cut. Is that true for Gotta Run? Hamburg, no. Dude, no. Hamburg. You're the source of most of my gift subs, and if you go and Google that, you are going to hate me and unfollow, and I'll never get gift subs again, so please don't do that. Oh yeah, but we get closer and closer to Demolition Man every day. The Three Seashells meme had a real golden age around the start of the pandemic when everybody was buying up toilet paper. Suddenly it was all jokes about how people don't know how to use the Three Seashells, and it was great. I mean, no, it was terrible. People were dying and everyone was confused, but the part where we were all joking about Rob Schneider's joke from the 90s was great. I don't know, Hamburg. I told you not to. Chat. Did I or did I not explicitly tell Hamburg Tack not to Google cake farts? I did. Half tempted to swap all the toilet paper in the office to seashells next to April Fools. That's a good one as long as people get it. If you don't get it, then it's just confusing and upsetting. If you get it, then it's hilarious. This brush has seen better days. I need to give it the old cleanup treatment. But it'll do from a base coats. Better with a blend of people who do. I suppose that's true. If everybody got it, then everyone would just chuckle and you move on with your day. But if there's a blend, then you have some people who are like, what the fuck does this mean? And then you get to be that one guy who's like, let me tell you about Demolition Man. Do I have a playlist, or is it just random tracks that play? So the playlist I'm using is done by Pretzel, which is an app that has playlists of royalty-free music. And I pick the genre, and then it has sort of a rotating and adapting, evolving, if you will, playlist that it chooses from. I need to address that, because I know that Gunship has made all their stuff royalty-free, and I'd very much like to play some Gunship on this channel, and take a little bit more control over what music we have, but, you know, we make small changes. Small changes a bit at a time. Dark all day. How you doing, Rice Bowl? Good to see you. Ah, okay. Now, I'll go over to Heavy Ochre. I'm enjoying painting with oils, but it is nice every now and then to go back to acrylics just because all my muscle memory is geared towards acrylics. This also makes me more aware of just how wasteful of paint by volume acrylics are by comparison. I use almost no actual paint when I'm painting with oils, which is kind of wild. It's a good playlist, Rice Bowl. I'm glad you like it. Switch pretzel to smooth jazz. Nothing but saxophone channel. I wonder if that's a thing. It should be if it's not. Big fucking trains is what I need to do. I'm not opposed to this concept rolling. I like the suggestion. I'm gonna have to take a look at that art reference that you sent me. Well, there's a little spot of metal there that I didn't get with my primer that I'm gonna have to fix. Easy done. Easy done. I've almost used this. I got a much bigger bottle of Steinel Res, but I've almost used this one up. Trinity City Railroad. It'd probably be a little bit more advanced than a railroad for Trinity City, Data Nerd, but I like where your head's at. It's like saying the Trinity City Telegram. You probably have wireless communication. Yes, and then comes the monorail song, which we're all imagining right now because we can't help ourselves because that was a damn catchy episode. No, you're not. I'm not that easy. Metalcore. I'm not that easy. How do you like that primer versus basic Vallejo primer? Chewy, I like it significantly more. I haven't had as bad of an experience with Vallejo primer as some people have, but lately I've been doing two things that have made Steinel Res more preferable to me. Number one, I've been painting metal minis, you might notice. I'm painting a metal mini right now, and Steinel Res binds to metal a lot better than Vallejo does in my experience. The other thing I've been doing is oil painting, and Steinel Res primer seems to absorb and take on the stain of oil paint much better than Vallejo does. So I'm pretty much fully swapped over to Steinel Res at this point. It forms a more durable primer coat, I find, too, which is, again, important for when I'm painting oils. Or not oils, but metal. Now imagine if I was painting metals in oil. Oh my god, then I would definitely use Steinel Res. Oh, that's better. You have to pick some of that up. Yes, it is, who makes it? It's Badger, I want to say, is the brand. Yeah, it's done by Badger. And it is Steinel Res is the primer. You can remember that, even though it's a really confusing name. It's styrene nylon resin. Steinel Res. Yeah, it is. It's done by Badger. It's good stuff. It's become very popular lately. I am always a little wary of fads in the painting world because we definitely have them. We have our own sort of fashion. Particularly among streamers, you'll notice that once somebody starts doing something, everybody else starts doing it, it becomes a thing. Suddenly every streamer's doing the same damn thing. It's not always a good thing. Sometimes it's just because people are doing it that it happens. In this particular case, everybody started using Stynylrez for a reason. It is a fantastic primer. I have not used Pro Acryl's primer for Gotta-Run, but I don't have a hard time believing that they have a good primer because their paints are so well formulated, it's stupid. Got some Stynylrez on order, heard good things from other hobbyists as well. Yeah, it's quality. It goes decently through an airbrush, too. I do suggest you thin it a little bit. Don't over-thin it. Just adding a few drops of water helps. And you want to go ahead and crank your PSI up. I crank mine up to like 30 PSI to get Stynylrez to move through it, because it can be a little thick. It brushes on very well, though. If all you want to do is brush on your primer, I can recommend Stynylrez for that also. I love this song. It's just fantastic. Yeah. Put some paint on those kneecaps. Yeah. That's it, boy. Get in there nice and deep-like. Stila Rebel, ladies and gentlemen, coming in to creep up the joint just a little bit, though. Just a little bit. Just enough to make us uncomfortable in the good kind of way. It's like when you got a sore in your mouth, you know, and you bite down on it, and it's like it hurts. But it's the good kind of pain. It's that pain that you know you shouldn't enjoy, but you do, and you just can't stop yourself. That's Stila Rebel packed into a box for you right there. That's just Stila all over. How you doing today, Stila Rebel? You just waking up? Thank you so much for that shout out, Riot Sister. Stila, your stream is getting crazy popular. It's blowing up over there. I go over to pop into chat, and I'm a voice in the cacophony these days. You gotta fight people tooth and nail to get your moment with Stila. With good reason. One of the better late night streamers on here. Stila Rebel is I say late night if you're Western. If you're in the US to UK, she's probably going to be a late night stream for you. If you are based in Asia or Australia, she is probably going to be right in the middle of the day for you. So if you're looking for that late night stream, or you are curious at all about oil painting, or you just happen to live on that side of the planet where they speak in moon runes, go ahead and give Stila a follow. Ready to get thundered. Oh, God. Oh, no. Let's not make that a thing. In another way, that already is a thing, and that's not what I'm gonna do. Well, I hope you had a very restful night, Stila. I hope everybody does, but you know me, I sleep like shit, so I just hope everybody else is getting better sleep than I am. Always get a restful night when I paint butts. Yeah, that was something nice that Stila did for me. Stayed up late last night. Well, you know, stayed up normal time during the day because in Japan, and was painting some oily butts over on her stream. Oil painting, one of the first minis that you did in oils, as I recall. You printed a new version of it and gave it a shot with your newly found skills. Newly practiced hard-won skills to kind of get an impression for how things have changed. And I'm really getting a lot more out of Stila and Wapelius' streams now, for that matter, since I've started oil painting. It's just, when you have done it a few times, it's much easier to pick up what they're talking about. But you definitely had a problem early on, and it's reassuring to see that you had an issue early on with exactly what I have an issue with right now with oil paints, which is my tendency to overblend. It's so easy to make mud, as Matt Yee says, or to just blend everything into a big indistinct smudge. And it's a habit that I'm trying to break, and watching you has been thoroughly helpful in teaching myself, like, alright, limit the number of brush strokes, be a little gentler, don't just smudge everything together and call it a day. But the blending, it's addictive, and you want to just keep doing it. But yeah, I got to wake up to a nice painted butt today. On a miniature. A painted butt on a miniature. A miniature's butt was painted. Friendly reminder for everyone in chat to take any cups, plates, bowls, bottles, cans that they may or may not have in their room back to the kitchen. Sewer creature. That is bizarrely good, if completely random advice. I both have no idea what prompted it and kind of appreciate it, because that is an important thing to remember. Us mini painters in particular have a tendency to set down a drink and then forget that we had it in the first place. Carbonic acid with those 13 months. 13! I guess it's another month. Another month further from Storm Chaser Paradise. How you doing, Carbonic Acid? Good to have you in chat, my friend. Thank you so much for that sub. Yeah, it's the kind of problem you want to have. Oh, my oils blend too easily. Oh, no. And then there's Riot Sister thinking the bots like they're real people. You don't have to feel bad, Riot Sister. I respect that, you know? A lot of people in the next generation didn't want to treat Data like he was a real person. They wanted to treat him like he was just a piece of hardware for them to dismantle as they saw fit. But Riker and Picard fought for his humanity, fought for the notion that he was a sentient being, and how we treat sentient beings, even ones that don't necessarily have any rights, can't stop us from treating them poorly. That colors how we're going to treat everybody in the future. So I say treat Thunderbot like a real person. Because one day he may be. You don't want to be on the wrong side of that particular bit of history. The wind is blowing your office down around you. It's a war zone. Oh my god, you're getting the nasty weather over there, huh? Measure him like a man, as it were. I like that, Berserker. I like what you did there, because I could take that in one of a number of directions. Either the direct Star Trek reference direction, or measuring wieners direction, and that's funny. That's quality humor. I am fully functional. You can bring it back to Data's hog. I've missed you, Berserker. How you doing, man? It's been a while. Oh, Hamburg, thank you so much for the reminder. I have seen Baby Driver rolling. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I have seen it. I saw it well before Kevin Spacey self-destructed live for all of us to watch. What you painting? Hey, what's up, Jack? We got all the old crew in here. I'm working on some of my Warcaster Iron Star Alliance figures. How you doing, Jack? How those 3D prints coming, buddy? I'm gonna thin this yellow a bit more. It's thickened up quite a lot. It's a thick paint. It's the extra opaque Vallejo stuff. Baby Driver is a movie where I don't care that much about the details of the film because the experience of sitting down and watching it is very tightly tuned, carefully crafted, and quite enjoyable. Hey, Bueno Truno, how you doing today, man? Want to watch Measure of a Man now? It's a great episode. Like, not even because it's one of the most famous episodes, it's just legitimately excellent television. I always like the courtroom episodes of The Next Generation. Maybe it's just because it's usually when we got Picard at his Picardiest. I like Measure of a Man, too, because they had Will Riker argue against him. And I think they made a good point there. And that, you know, it was his duty to represent that argument whether he believed in it or not. And then he hits him with the off switch. That was fucked up. It's the usual stress of everything. Yeah, I know, man. Oh, man. I don't know what the particulars of it are, and it may be completely pointless, but in your position, I would try to talk to, like, a dean about that situation, man, because I just have a hard time believing that that asshole can really do that. That seems wrong to me, but what do I know? Oh, that's a good episode, Steela. Everybody always says Darmok. Everybody always is in love with Darmok. Ah, that episode. I'm not saying I don't like Darmok. Everybody likes Darmok. It's a great episode. But it doesn't actually make any fucking sense. It doesn't. It's a good episode. It's a wonderful episode, but I feel like there's so much better episodes that don't get as much attention as Darmok. Just because Darmok is nothing but memes. Some point get to talk better support practices on Resin Prince. Oh, that's right. I took some pictures earlier I was going to send to you on that subject, Jack. I want to show you how because these sets came off my Mars 2 earlier today. Like you can see, nice, crisp. There's a little teeny bit of warp, like I think you can see it. There's a teeny bit of warp to it that happened while I was curing it. And the warp mostly happens because this part in here is really, really thin, so it's hard to keep it from doing that. But thankfully it doesn't really affect the functionality of the trays like at all. But yeah, these nice crisp edges, there is a method that I use to get these to print nice. It's on your head when the camera froze. But you can see like these ones that are thicker, these print nice and flat and straight. Oh, okay, yeah, Best of Both Worlds is one of my favorites. I love Best of Both Worlds. Also, it was a proper send-off to Tasha Yar. Audio, when the stutters began. Shaco, when the miniature fell. Darmok is a great, charming episode. It doesn't really make you think much. It's just cool and entertaining. What is the name of the episode where Picard, you know, the one where he learns to play the fucking fife? What's that episode? I know it's got a witty little name. I can't remember it right now. That's a great episode. That is a fucking fantastic episode. Inner Light, yeah. Where he encounters the satellite. I love that episode. To Square, thank you so much for the reminder. I tend to slouch real nasty, particularly since my chair's been giving out on me a little bit. Inner Light's a great episode. And then basically any episode from any of the series involving Jeffrey Combs, I'm into. Whether he be Shran or Wayun or what was the name of his Ferengi? He was the representative from the shit. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Oh my god. Didn't they just copy the movie Enemy Mine? To be fair, Gus, a lot of people copied the movie Enemy Mine. Liquidator Brunt, thank you. That sort of story, Gus Schultz, the Enemy Mine, the Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra, that one was set up a little bit differently because that was a cultural exercise and not a situation where they were trapped while they were at war. But they did need to learn to understand one another, so the concept was certainly taken from it. You could also see Hell in the Pacific with Toshiro Mifune and... Roland, help me out. You're always the one who knows these things when I can't remember the names of actors. Who was in Hell in the Pacific with Toshiro Mifune? As your secondary brain, can I be a mod? Here's the thing, though, Roland. As my secondary brain, I know kind of how you think. And you would probably be like a terror of a mod, because I would be. So it's a double-edged sword. Because I both trust your knowledge on pop culture and references, and also I know you too well. If you genuinely would like to be a mod, we can talk about it later, man. I'm not opposed to it. Lee Marvin. Thank you so much. Yes, Lee Marvin. But yeah, I think that probably the best version of that story, Gus Schultz... Like, I like Enemy Mine, don't get me wrong. Enemy Mine is one of those weird movies, though, like Clockwork Orange, where everybody's seen it, but for some reason people only remember, like, the first part of the movie. And this may not be true for you, I've just found it to be true with a bizarre number of people. Like with A Clockwork Orange, everybody always wants to talk about the ultra-violence and the droogs and bullshit like that. And then they, like, forget that that was only the first part of the film. And the second part of the movie is this horrific, grinding, brainwashing, and nasty-ass violence. And abuse. And, Enemy Mine is kind of like that, I've found, and that every time I talk to somebody about it, it's like, oh yeah, I remember the thing, and the thing, and the thing, and they're only ever talking about the first part of the movie, and everyone forgets the part where the alien has a kid, and then they go into the actual enemy mine where he's a slave. I don't know what it is about those movies. Maybe it's just that they're kind of long, but they prompt people to forget whole portions of the narrative. It's not even the best part of Clockwork Orange. No, the best part is... Well, no, I don't want to say what the best part is. Clockwork Orange is a disturbing film. Good, though. Go on, Jack. What's the best part of A Clockwork Orange? If it's someone getting their face beaten in with a giant ceramic dick, you're being silenced for a minute. Because that's not the best part of the movie. You see? I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. Jack, that part of the movie is tragic and strange. It's not the best part. The fucked up eyeball scene. Yeah, that's part of the movie that nobody talks about. When they're, you know, forcibly brainwashing that man into being unable to handle even the slightest form of violence. Which is, in its own way, pretty fucked up. That part of the movie makes me very uncomfortable. And then Darth Vader shows up. I always hate dropping movie trivia with the attitude of like, oh, you guys didn't know this, because a lot of you probably do know this. But in the second part of the movie, when he goes back to that guy's house and he's in a wheelchair and he has the big muscle-bound attendant with the just gigantic arms, that huge buff dude, that's David Prowse, who played Darth Vader. So Darth Vader hangs out for a while in that movie. think you're drinking a brown... I mean, I am drinking a brown liquid. It's not that color of brown. It's a lighter brown. And it is mostly vodka. Just the arc of Alex going crazy over and over in different ways is the best part. Yeah, I mean, the whole movie is good. A Clockwork Orange is a good movie in the sense that, like, Rosemary's Baby is a good movie. In that I don't really enjoy watching it. I have watched it multiple times. But it's not one of those that I'm like, this movie's so good, I want to watch it again. It's more like, oh, that movie upset me, it was really good. I think that a movie can be called good if it makes you feel something. If it really makes you feel something. Other than just revulsion, because I feel like that's easy. Because, you know, by that metric, then we have to go back and say, Peter Jackson's fucking Dead Alive is a good movie. Peter Jackson's Dead Alive is an interesting movie. It is, I think, an accomplishment of filmmaking in several ways. I think it's in a weird way, it's sort of an important cultural touchstone, particularly for New Zealand film. It's not a good movie, though. It's a shocking movie, certainly. Yes, Steal a Rebel. I'm sort of modifying what I did to do this. I'm just bringing it up to a high yellow. I'm not doing anything too complicated with these figures because I need to paint a lot of them. It's sort of like, it's on their bases, too, that same honeycomb. Hey, Guy Varese, welcome in. Oh, Jack. Well, thanks for stopping in, dude. It's always a pleasure to see you in chat. I'll drop you a line after the stream's over, man. Well, thank you so much, Steeler. You're always so kind and so encouraging about my paint jobs while doing better than I do. Hot take on movies. Pulp Fiction is the most overrated movie on Earth, eclipsing even Napoleon Dynamite for overrated lame movies. Jungle Plague, that may be an unpopular opinion with some people, but you're never ever gonna get an argument out of me when it comes time to talk shit about Quentin Tarantino. I do not like that man. I do not like his movies, for the most part. He has done some very good he's done some excellent films. He really has. But I have a hard time separating the films from the man in his case, and he is a douchebag. And I would agree that Pulp Fiction is kind of among the least of his work anyway. It was a very popular movie. It has a lot of really good memes in it, basically, but it's not really that good. It's an enjoyable film, but I think it's important to note that you can enjoy a movie without the movie necessarily being good. I like lots of movies that aren't really very good. You don't need to die on that hill. I'll hang out on the hill with you. We'll have a picnic on the hill. It sounds like a lovely hill. A hill where we all recognize that Quentin Tarantino is kind of a fucking hack. Oh, what's up, Thunder Mom? How you doing? Evening just got beautiful. Rain, sunshine, and a full double rainbow. My God. Take a picture. I want to see. We got barely any rain over here. Oh my God, Spaz. Yes, I fucking love True Romance. I really enjoy that movie. Most of the best work that Quentin did, he did early on in his career before he really got launched with Pulp Fiction. Because he did, Oh man, I'm having a brain... Did he do Jackie Brown? I know that was written by Elmore Leonard. Did Tarantino do Jackie Brown? I feel like he did. But I'm having a brain fart right now, and I feel like maybe I'm confusing him with... Oh, okay, yeah, he did. Alright. Yeah, Jackie Brown's great. I love that movie. Even the Thunder Mom knows that. That was mean. It sounds like even you, how dismissive of me. I'm sorry, that's not how I meant it. Yeah, Berserker. Yeah, as Drexel. It's funny, true romance never comes up in conversation, and this is the second time today that it's come up in conversation, specifically in relation to Gary Oldman's performance in it, as Drexel. Is it White Boy Day? Oh no, Drexel, it ain't White Boy Day. I just had a realization that I might be about to share with you. I hope that I have this wrong. Hang on. Okay. That's my Payne's Gray. My blue. These are both oils. Okay. I can smell the solvent. This is my coal black that I put in the same style of bottle but didn't label. You might remember, if you were here the other night, I had a moment when I reached for a bottle of my Payne's Gray, and I put it on my palate, and... Are you smelling the color? Yes. No, the solvent. And I put it on my palate, and I had a moment when I was like, huh, this Payne's Gray isn't thinning right. I put some acrylic paint on my oil palette. Whoops. Whoopsie daisy. That explains a lot. That explains why I was having trouble. That explains why it was just breaking apart instead of thinning. I'm glad I didn't continue with that. Note to self, in fact, would somebody fire me a reminder on Discord, if you don't mind, label your coal black, and go ahead and call me a dumbass. Whee! Picked a bad day to quit sniffing paint. Because they're the similar colors and in the same bottle, Stila, that was my fault. And it's because I got lazy and I didn't do labels for my two oils that I put in the same style of bottle. But this is my Payne's Gray and my, what's the other one? My Prussian Blue, not my Phthalo Green that I got. Thank you, Data Nerd, I appreciate that. You know, it was bothering me ever since I did it, though, because I put the paint down, and I took some of my white spirits, and I went to mix it in, and the paint just, like, ripped apart and didn't thin, and I was like, that's weird, so I stopped using it. And, yeah, that was acrylic paint. Oh, boy. Smelling the colors, like some sort of paint wizard. Eh, sure, why not? I'll take it. Riot Sister, you have some good foods. Tell Thunder Mom hi for me. Assuming you're even in the same place. The scene with Walken and Hopper is one of the best I've seen. I love that scene, Spaz. I absolutely love that scene. I can't quote it no matter how much I want to because it's absolutely loaded with racial slurs. But in the context of the scene, it's phenomenal. There's something that never changed about Tarantino, is his desire to use racial slurs copiously any chance that he gets. Let's see, backs of the knees, and then around the ankle and down on the boot. They could have been like elementary school smelly paints. Yes, my coal black smells like blueberries. I always know that I'm using red because it smells like strawberries. Somebody should market that. Adult smelly paints. Scratch and sniff labels just to be sure. Why isn't it? This is Berserker. That's a good question. It's 2021. How can I not make my own scratch and sniff labels at home yet? What have we been doing with science, if not that? What the fuck is the point of any of this if I don't have make it at home scratch and sniff labels yet? Need to pull their fucking fingers out. Yeah, Reservoir Dogs is a good movie too, but again, that Reservoir Dogs was one of those that happened early enough in his career that I think that Tarantino has fallen victim to a lesser extent, the same thing that a lot of directors like James Cameron and George Lucas have fallen victim to, which is that early on in their careers, they had a lot of wild, crazy, experimental ideas, and they wanted to do all of them, but they didn't have the money or the clout to do all of them. They had to convince people with money and clout to let them do some of them. And they managed to, and they got their hand held a little bit, and they would go, I want to do this crazy thing. And the person with the money would go, well, we're not going to do that, but we'll do something like a compromise. And what you got was great fucking cinema out of the deal. What you got was, Star Wars and Terminator and shit like that. And then at some point, they made so much money that nobody was allowed to tell them no anymore. And they just went fucking crazy. Just absolutely out of their damn minds. As soon as they were allowed to do every single thing that they wanted, it turns out that the real raw truth of everything they want to do is kind of stupid and oftentimes offensive. Yeah, Django Unchained is... I was not a fan of Django Unchained. I won't sit here and tell you that it's a bad movie, because I don't think it is. I just didn't like it. I've heard good things about The Hateful Eight. I have not seen it, so I can't really speak to it. But I'm definitely a fan of his older work. I'm definitely a fan of Jackie Brown, True Romance. I enjoy Pulp Fiction, but getting back to the start of the conversation, I do think that it was one of those that, like, it became a meme, and suddenly it was more popular than it ever normally would have been. It also helped introduce all of us culturally to Samuel Jackson. Not that he didn't exist before that, but it's like, suddenly he was Samuel Jackson. Like, ooh, he was, hand me my wallet, it's the one that says bad motherfucker on it, Sam Jackson. He was, well, everything changed. Oh, you've seen The Hateful Eight, have you, Steela? How is it? I've heard good things. I think instead of watching The Hateful Eight, I watched Bone Tomahawk to sort of scratch my Western itch. And I loved Bone Tomahawk. And then I just never bothered going back to The Hateful Eight. Not that they're necessarily, similar movies, but they came out roughly around the same time and looked very similar. Hey, Ion Raptor, how you doing? That's what happened to George Lucas in the prequels. He was surrounded by yes men. Yeah, at that point, nobody was allowed to tell him no. And as it turns out, if you're not allowed to tell George Lucas no, you wind up with such winning lines as, "You succumb with me now, Okie Day." Yeah. Still holding out hope that Jennifer Connelly will leave Paul Bettany and seek your affection. Oh my god. I will fucking fight you, Roland. When that day comes, I will fight you for the affections of Jennifer Connelly. That woman is ethereal. Somehow I don't see her leaving Paul Bettany, though. Those two are... They're made for each other. I can only imagine that when they go in to kiss one another, their incredibly sharp cheekbones, like, deflect off one another and start fires. Oh, this got very personal very quickly, didn't it, Roland? I did shock. I did. Thank you for getting that shout-out done, by the way, Project Dark Fox. Guys, if you're not following Ion Raptor Designs, if you like 6mm sci-fi, like Battletech, or what other 6mm sci-fi games are there? Horizon Wars. There's some that are close, like Cav, Strike Ops. If that's your bag, and if you like 3D printing in particular, man, you gotta go check out Ion Raptor Designs. The guy does some fantastic work, and he does a lot of his 3D design work live on stream. So also, if you're curious about getting started with 3D design for 3D printing, it's a great channel to check out. Remember that movie where she was locked in a store with that guy? Have I seen that? I don't think I've seen that. Now I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna be that guy. You ready for me to be that guy? I'm gonna correct people because for whatever reason there's like a curse on everybody who plays Anakin Skywalker where they have famous lines and people misremember small pieces of them. The most famous example I can think of is, you know, "Luke, I am your father" is supposedly the famous line, but, you know, many of us know he didn't say, "Luke, I am your father." That was not the line. Well, similarly, Anakin Skywalker doesn't actually say, "I hate sand." He says, "I don't like sand." So, you know.
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
Speaking of Sam Jackson. Consider my life changed, yeah. Yeah, you're real embarrassed now, aren't you? That's what I thought. Sand is awful, he is correct. You know, having grown up in Florida, I do tend to agree. It is coarse, rough, and irritating, and it does get everywhere. Every single time I see in a movie anything about a couple, like, having sex on a beach, I'm always just like, nope. No, sir. You have no idea the nightmare you've just unleashed on yourself. Hate makes it a better line. Nothing makes that a better line because that line is fucking stupid. There's no way to make that line better. Who are you kidding? It's awful. The only way to make that line better is to remove it from the movie. Oh, God. I didn't say it couldn't be further improved. Well, that is such a tiny, minute improvement that I have a hard time congratulating you on it. I hope you'll forgive me. Like falling out of an airplane and just noting, like, you know, at least we got a good view. At least we get a good view before we smash into the Earth at terminal velocity. Oh, The Rocketeer is such a good movie, Roland. Oh my god. I recently rewatched The Rocketeer. I know I mentioned it on stream. That movie is so much better than I remember it being. Like, I remember enjoying it. I remember it being good. But I don't remember it being as good as it was. I don't remember enjoying it as much as I did as an adult. Like, I thought I liked it because I was a kid. No, I liked it because it's a fucking great movie. And it just made me super duper sad that Joe Johnston never gave us another one. He gave us Captain America: The First Avenger. But then I'm left thinking, like, why wasn't The Rocketeer in Captain America? He totally would have fit in there. Oh my god, Pyre. The scene when Paul Sorvino playing the gangster is, you know, they're fighting the Nazis because the Nazis show up, and he gives Timothy Dalton that line about, like, you know, I might be a crook, but I'm through and through American. I don't work with no Nazis. And there's a moment when they're fighting the Nazis, and Paul Sorvino is there with his Tommy gun, you know, shooting, and then taking cover right next to him is the Fed, the FBI agent that he's been feuding with the whole movie, and he's firing his Tommy gun, and they kind of look at each other and go like, okay, yeah, and then they just keep firing. It's a beautiful moment. It's just this little, like, you know, gangsters and the Feds, and they're like, but fuck Nazis. Nobody likes them. Oh man, what was Timothy Dalton's line when she discovers his secret lab and she's like, "Oh, he comes into the room all of a sudden." It's like, he's what? A spy? A saboteur? A fascist? All of the above. Oh my god, I love that movie. Expand our glow a little bit here. See a couple of spots I think it would be well served at. Always wanted Cliff Secord to show up in Agent Carter as part of the SSR. Oh my god, that would be great! They could do a Rocketeer sequel right now and not involve Cliff Secord. Like, have Cliff Secord be a character from the past, or even an old man, and like pass the torch to a new generation and come up with, you know, like they do with all these movies, come up with something more socially relevant to today as far as a character to be the Rocketeer. And you know what? I'd fucking watch it. As long as Joe Johnston directs. Oh, I'm making a mess. Remember when movies had satisfying setups and payoffs? I remember. Yeah, those were the days, weren't they? It still happens. It still does happen. But, not all that often. Wait, there's a kids show version of The Rocketeer? I'm unfamiliar with the fact that this even happened. It was like on Disney Plus? Oh, by the way, I would like to issue a addendum to my recommendation for Jupiter's Legacy. I love the show. I love the acting in it. I really, really like the story. The first season, the first 8 episodes, ends on a wicked fucking cliffhanger that feels like it should be right in the middle of the season. So, as much as I like the show, as much as I want to recommend it to you, if you take my recommendations at all, do not watch Jupiter's Legacy until and contingent upon the release of a second season. Because that threw me so fucking bad. I'm like, how are they gonna wrap this up? Oh, this episode seems like it's almost over, and then the season just sort of ends. They didn't resolve anything, and I'm kinda pissed off about it, because I was really getting into the story. Jay Darkside, thank you so much for the follow, my friend. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Storm Chasers. Drakari, I don't think you're wasting your time. It's still good, it's still really interesting, I think the performances are still good. Just be aware, it does just sort of end on a real wicked cliffhanger. They reveal a couple of things, they reveal a few big things about the story, and then before anything is really resolved, they're like, stay tuned for Season 2. And that was a dick move. That was a big dick move. Not a big dick move, it's just the move of a big... of a dick, if you will. Energy X, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. I hope you're having a good time. I know I am. Great show, but gut punch of a cliffhanger. Yeah, like, I love the show. I think that the acting is great. I like the costumes. I like the story. I love the 1930s setup. Like, I'm with it. But the cliffhanger really... I had that moment where you're watching something and you're like, wait, the credits are rolling? And that's never a good feeling. Hamburg Tack, thank you so much for the reminder. Really want to see you paint those Conquest minis in oils. Energy, I've been doing quite a lot of that lately. Thursday, we're going to be doing Battletech in oil paints, and then Sunday, we're going to be getting back to our Conquest in oil. We've been working on these Men-at-Arms in oil paints and making some decent progress on them. And then I've been working on these 3D printed magnetized base sets to connect them to magnets. And I don't know if you've seen I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, that's where I posted a picture of the abomination that I built, which I'm pretty happy with the pose I got out of this thing. I managed to make it look fairly organic, which I've noticed a lot of the poses on this guy wind up looking strangely static. But it's a damn nice model overall. He also has a 3D printed magnetized base because I can't stop myself, apparently, with little regiment connectors. I don't know if they're ever going to let you connect monsters into regiments, but I made connectors for it just in case. Future-proofing, if you will. Well, thank you so much for saying so. I'm really enjoying the Conquest figures. I haven't dug into painting any of the Spires figures yet, because I think I'm probably going to main 100 Kingdoms. To create a monstrous regiment. Berserker. I do miss you, man. I miss some of the good old days. You know the ones I'm talking about. I miss Morty and I miss K-Mac. Of course, obviously, only some of these days can be reclaimed anymore. That was the bright, shining beacon for me in a time that otherwise sucked. And I really appreciate you being there, man. And hope things are going well for you. Oh my god, really? I guess we did get started late, didn't we? Let me hurry up. Turns out going back to school at 34 is a silly idea. On second thought, let's not go to school. It's a silly idea. What are you going back for, buddy? I haven't been... I don't... man, I'm barely on Facebook anymore, so I don't really follow developments people post if they wind up on there. You're the old men now, Ace. You're the man now, dog. No, that's a completely different reference. Ooh, gonna be a historian, huh? Well, that's cool. I don't know if you're gonna be a historian. Like that isn't necessarily the only thing you can do with a history degree. But I admit I'm curious what your plan is, man. Wait, who's dead? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I forgot that I made a Finding Forrester reference less than a minute ago. Yeah, we got one or two historians in here, apparently. It's almost like we're a bunch of fucking nerds or something. But that couldn't be. We're all so cool. And everyone knows you can't be a nerd and be cool. Those they're you know, antonyms. I've seen Revenge of the Nerds. Those guys weren't cool. And Hollywood doesn't lie. Ever. Under any circumstance. They're not allowed to. It's against the law. Nerds gathering to watch a dude paint minis? Preposterous. Balderdash, I say. No, we're not nerds. By the way, crank that synth. Alright, I want to ask you a question, chat. I want to ask you an important question. Are you ready? Are you ready for the question? Are you ready to answer honestly? Have you seen the movie The Guest that came out in 2014, I want to say it was? No. Steela hasn't. It seems like it slipped under most people's radar. It definitely slipped under my radar. I didn't even look at it until recently. You guys have got to watch this movie. It's so fucking great. It's so fucking great. I thought when it got recommended to me, I was like, oh, it'll be okay. You know, maybe it'll be, you know, I didn't know what to expect out of it. I thought maybe it would be, it's fucking great. It is one of the most fun experiences that I've had watching it. No, The Room doesn't count. No. Nothing that Tommy Wiseau has ever done counts. Stop. You in particular, Berserker, if you haven't seen it, go find The Guest. It's on Netflix and give it a watch. I think you'll love it. It's, not what I expected it to be, and it's amazing. Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Is it really? That's the one with Ben Stiller, isn't it? I confess, I have a hard time believing that, but that doesn't mean it's not true. I believe lots of things that aren't true, and I disbelieve many things that are. Yeah, right, Roland? Most people know him from Downton Abbey. And he's very, very different in The Guest. I don't want to spoil anything about The Guest for anybody, and I'm going to encourage you not to look up, like, if you hear my recommendation and it means anything at all to you, if you hear my recommendation and you think, hey, maybe I'll do that, do yourself a favor, don't look the movie up. Don't look up any synopses, don't look up anything else the director has done, just get on Netflix and watch the movie. Because it is best enjoyed with no idea what's going to happen. I'm very taken with it, though. And I don't want to, like, I want to sit here and talk about the movie because I enjoyed it so much, and there are parts of it that I enjoy thoroughly. But I don't want to rob you of the opportunity of seeing it without knowing what's going to happen. And I want to give it some time, and then if some people go out and watch it, and you come back to chat, and you're like, I just watched The Guest, I'd love to talk about it with you, because it's really quite great. And like I said, weirdly, it slipped under the radar. It's the kind of movie where I feel stupid for, like, it's been out for, like, 7 years and I haven't watched it? That's crazy. I'll have to check it out, Jungle Plague. Am I the only person who reads spoilers for movies prior to seeing it just to go, oh, how did they get there? Well, you know, it depends on the movie. There are a lot of movies I don't give a shit about spoilers because they're not very well written anyway, and, you know, I'm just in it for the experience or whatever. I try to avoid spoilers in general, though. It's the reason I don't watch trailers anymore, for the most part. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but in the last, like, 5 to 10 years, trailers have been on this steady downturn where they just kind of tell you what happens in the movie now. You have scenes that are clearly from late in the film and definitely have spoilers in them. The latest Suicide Squad trailer from James Gunn. Now, I don't think that there's, like, that's a movie where I don't really give a shit about spoilers because it's Suicide Squad. But there's definitely spoilers in the trailer, even if just insofar as there are clearly shots from the late movie where, like, 6 characters just aren't there when they should be. So you can be like, oh, those characters clearly die. That, and it also spoils what is certain to be one of the main villains in the film, but I don't care because I'm so excited by the existence of that villain in the film that I'm like, whatever, that's cool. They did Ion Raptor, but at the same time, that scene, that particular shot, was maybe the most egregious example of insane fan service in the entirety of Mortal Kombat, which itself was just insane fan service. It's like, the man speaks Japanese. They go way out of their way to note that he speaks just Japanese. They have Sub-Zero fighting him in the beginning of the movie speaking Chinese, and they don't understand each other. He doesn't speak Chinese and the other guy doesn't speak Japanese. And then at the end of the movie, when he shows up as Scorpion and he throws his spear, he yells, "Get over here," in English. Like, okay, I guess. Yeah, sure, why not? I agree to Square. I really do agree, because everything that I learned that you could argue is a spoiler about Suicide Squad from the trailer was all things that made me go, oh, thank God they're fixing it. They showed King Shark biting a man in half. They showed King Shark ripping a man, bisecting him lengthwise. They showed Starro the Conqueror, and I'm like, I don't care if there's spoilers. I'm going to watch this movie. I don't give a shit. Need to add more water to my wet palette. It's drying out real bad today. by the way, the name of, what's his name, Cole from Mortal Kombat, the main character, the new guy who doesn't have a Mortal Kombat name because they made him up for the movie. His official name is Clown Baby. I have decided this, and so far nobody has argued with me. If you get the reference, we can be friends. Oh, to Square, thank you for the reminder. Where's my water? There it is. Thank you, Shadow Fox. Am I wrong? Or was his power the ability to take the biggest beating? I think I'm spot on. We were saying it as we watched the movie, like, oh, he's Clown Baby. Yeah, okay. Those are his powers. I liked Mortal Kombat. It was not the greatest movie ever made, but I feel like if that's your metric for a movie called Mortal Kombat, you're doing something wrong? It's based on a video game that barely had a story in the first place anyway. It had no more of a story than Shaq Fu did. There's a deep cut for you. Who else remembers Shaq Fu on their Sega Genesis? It was a weird time when everybody was obsessed with Shaquille O'Neal. I hadn't heard that, Roland. One thing I can say about it is that regardless of whether it's true or not, I don't care. That's not accurate. It's not that I don't care, it's that I don't think I'm capable of caring, like I can't care. Because whatever they do, it's gonna be stupid, and I will have something to complain about in its execution, so I'm probably just not gonna bother watching it. With the blood code. Yeah, the alternative was they all just sweated a lot. I want an incredibly highbrow Mortal Kombat. Just discourses on the eternal nature of combat itself. A backstory on the establishment of the Mortal Kombat tournament. The high age of Outworld when it was ruled by philosopher kings. Nobody fucking wants that. Also, Kano totally stole that whole movie for me. Kano and Cabal stole the whole thing. Kano was just, he was just magic. That and the one fatality that Kung Lao did. You know the one I'm talking about. It was amazing. His flawless victory fatality. That was beautiful. We're supposed to care why they fight? I saw the movie and I still don't, so I don't know what to tell you. I have no idea what you're painting, but I love it, Cephalopod Studios. How you doing today, my man? Could we get a shout out pretty please for Cephalopod Studios? Welcome in, man. These are metal figures from the Privateer Press Warcaster Neo-Mechanika range for the faction known as the Iron Star Alliance. Basically space fascists. But, you know, who doesn't love a good space fascism? I don't know if you've been on my Instagram recently, Cephalopod, but if you go on there and you look to the last army picture that I got posted of a bunch of dudes with bone-colored armor and like big robots and red, orange glows to them and stuff, that is the first force that I painted for this game, and they're the guys who oppose the Iron Star Alliance. They're like space cultists. It's a sweet game that I'm stoked to play more than a handful of games. Yeah, I'm glad that we're getting to a point now where we can actually get out and play some games, Chewy. Particularly since I made so much terrain, 3D printable terrain for this game, and now I'm finally able to start using it. Is a bear shit in the woods? Possibly. I once saw a bear shit in the dumpster, though, so... No, it's a complicated question. Eternus Continuum oppose like everyone, don't they? You could argue that, Chewy. You could also argue that the Eternus Continuum are the only ones who have any fucking clue what they're doing. And they're not really opposing anyone. They're opposing factions, they're opposing governments, yes. But they are promoting the well-being of mankind. One could argue this. Through the technology of peace. Cain lives in death. I mean, Raxus lives in death. They're very much like the Brotherhood of Nod. I can't help but notice the easy comparison there. That wasn't very convincing. Shock 21. We'll see how our fusion saws convince you instead. How about that? And we'll see how convinced you are. It's about time for the storm report, isn't it? Alright, I'm gonna have to pause here. That's okay. That's okay. Let me just finish up the shoulders. Oh, Metalcore's got jokes.
Welcome back to 50 Shades of Coal Gray.
This is my favorite book.
And as he pulled his stiff bristles out of my wet fluids, I yelled out, "No, Thunderhead! You need to thin that paint first!"
No, Thunderhead. Acrylics and oil shouldn't be... You know, we should add that to it, because I've done that. At this point, that is something I have actually done live on stream while actively wondering, why is this not working? I'm glad that I have an answer, because I was really concerned about that. I was like, why is this paint not thinning right? What's wrong? Oh. Well. The answer is plain to see, isn't it? Once I realized that I had mingled my bottles. He was on last time, Pyre. I would say Chaotic is live in chat here maybe once every 3 streams. And he's still been doing a lot of streaming himself. He's been painting a lot more lately, too. He pretty much just comes in here when he posts really asinine trolling shit in the Storm Report for me. That's a good pausing point because I only have the weapon and the arc receiver left to go. But we have made some progress on getting the rest of this squad done. It is only a 3-man squad. And this is our test piece, by the way. This is the first one that we did from this set. And this is where I'm going to push the rest of them to, with a couple of small changes. I'm really pretty happy with how this model came out for how relatively easy it was to paint. I'm shooting for that fairly high contrast, easy to do, but still visually striking paint scheme, and I think that this is a good one, because these guys should, thematically and color-wise, kind of balance out these guys from the other faction. I'm pretty happy with how the Eternus Continuum guys came out. I like all the designs, I have to say. I like all the designs from Warcaster Neo-Mechanika. And just because I'm showing them off, just because I am, I'm just really, really happy with how the Nemesis Warjack came out. This is my favorite model in the range. And I had a lot of fun painting it. I could have spent more time on it, but I just hit a point where I'm like, I want to be done with this so that I can actually play the game. That'd be really nice. And I figure I'll probably wind up getting another Nemesis at some point. I can spend more time on that if I want to. But I tried to do that like Molten Blade thing, and that worked out decently. The Chainsword, surprised Games Workshop hasn't tried to patent that. Yeah, they'll or copyright that. Well, they'll have to get in line. Because there's a lot of those in fiction. Speaking of which, why doesn't this Nemesis have a chainsaw dick? That's a shame, really. Yeah, I'm really happy with it, Steelo. Thank you for saying so. Alright, let me get these guys put away and my pallet boxed up here. And we'll take a look at what y'all have been posting in the Storm Report. Oh yeah, they almost certainly have I mean, you've seen what they've done over the last few years. Space Marines are now Primaris intercessors and shit, and Eldar are now Eldari Urear, and Dark Eldar are Drukara Hura Hura, and it's just everybody. They're not Imperial Guard anymore. They're Astra Militarum because they have to name everything something that they can fucking copyright. I'm not gonna sit here and say that they're wrong to do it necessarily. I'm not gonna say that it's not smart with the way that copyright law works and what they want to do with their setting. But whether it's smart, whether it's right, I'll tell you one thing I know about it. It's fucking lame.
Alright, locusts and gentlemix, get ready to feast your eyes on glorp paint and wet palettes with the occasional culinary atrocity thrown in on tonight's Storm Report. Brought to you by viewers like you.
They did. They did do that, 404th Exile. The Imperial Guard are now the Astra Militarum. Because you can't copyright the phrase Imperial Guard. Space Marines are now Primaris, this, that, and the other thing, because you cannot... Or I'm sorry. They didn't replace Space Marine with Primaris. They just leaned full on into Adeptus Astartes, which, while that has been their name the whole time, they're like phasing Space Marine out and pushing Adeptus Astartes more and more. They did the same thing with Sigmar. No, Pyre, you're absolutely correct. They did the same thing with Sigmar. Stormcast Eternals, what is it, the Wood Elves became the Sylvaneth. They just came up with stupid names that they could copyright for all of their factions. And again, I'm not saying it's not smart from a certain point of view. but it's fucking lame. And it all kind of spawned from that bullshit with Chapter House, but I don't want to dwell on that too much, because that's, you know what's lamer? You know what's lamer than renaming all your shit so you can copyright it? Is sitting on Twitch and bitching about copyright. That is in fact lamer. You can still call them Imperial Guardsmen, nobody's gonna stop you. Refocus my camera. I'm not sure why it does that. Alright, let's take a look what we have on the Storm Report. Let me move these metal figures out of the way, or I'm going to smack them with my hand, and then I'm going to regret it, because they're either going to penetrate my skin, or I'm going to bust their damn glue joints, and I really don't want either of those things to happen. Ooh, here we have up first from Squared. To compensate for the lack of toasted tortillas, I've got a sweet potato hash made with the leftover carnitas and pizza with Havarti. It's not how you pronounce it. Pesto and sweet Italian sausage. Ooh. Oh, my. That looks delicious. That looks real good. They are Asri? That's fair to say. It's not that they don't use those phrases at all anymore. It's just that they're leaning very heavily on the phrases that they can absolutely copyright. They can't really get away from calling them Space Marines or Imperial Guard because they did it for the better part of 30 years already. But they're pushing the new names as much as is feasible. And I think that also is an explanation for the Primaris everything. It's the reason, I'll tell you this, Asri, it is the reason that there aren't Primaris tactical squads or Primaris devastators or anything like that. Instead you have Primaris intercessors and Primaris gravis captains and just made up words, because those are the new phrases that they want to phase the old phrases out in favor of. I would like to ask what sweet Italian sauce is. That Steela doesn't know makes me concerned. And now I sweet Italian sausage, not sauce. Sweet Italian sausage, okay. Ooh, look at all that baked together like that. Oh. You make some interesting pan pizzas, I gotta say. Oh, Squared, you make me hungry every time you post food stuff, man. I gotta say, there's some shitty food porn out there, but yours is pretty high quality. Tasty. Steela would like to know what sweet Italian sausage is, though. Steela, you should know. It's a euphemism for wieners. Come on. There it is. I'm out of booze. Chat, bear with me for 1 second. I will be right back and we'll continue. It's true, I don't have that, I don't have the source on that page for the voice clips. I'm sorry, I'll add that, Kursala. Why the hell not? You know, there's no skin off my nose. Sorry about the extended delay there. I, got up to get some more to drink, discovered that I'm out of booze, which was upsetting, and, then I proceeded to look outside and realized that my workshop was standing wide open, and for those of you who were here last year, you will remember the saga of the Thunderskunk, which was a direct result of the workshop being left with the door open after sundown, and I had to run out and fix that, because that was one of the more traumatic experiences for me of the last several years. I didn't like that. No, I don't think so, White Wolf. I did a quick look around. I didn't see anything or any signs of it. The cats were out there, and generally, if a skunk had gotten in, the cats probably would have vacated. We don't have many possums out here, Azri. It could be a thunder badger. We got badgers. We've got skunks. Well, I drink it all, Data Nerd. I don't know, if it's thunder squirrels, the squirrels can hang out all they want. I don't give a shit. Most of them can hang out. Even a badger I wouldn't care that much about. I could get a badger out of the shop. Coyotes, not as much. Like, we have a lot of coyotes, Dark Fox. I think you know that. But they don't come in that close to light sources for the most part. We have a lot of deterrence up. Though I did discover recently that coyotes are not at all deterred by wolf pee. Which, I wish I had discovered that before I handled a bunch of wolf pee. You know? That would have been good. Because that was fucking awful, by the way. Have a weasel rebel. Hell, you got some weasels, do you? Oh, that's right, you were talking about that. You get a weasel on your roof, don't you? Where am I? I'm Eastern Colorado, Chewy. Out in the wide open plains where the deer and the antelope played at one point before we, killed all of the bison and turned this beautiful landscape into nothing but farmland. Back before that. Alright, let's keep going with the storm report here and see what we've got. Here we have from Sumitha, too funny not to share. Simply must see Thunderhead's reaction. Yes, Mass Effect Legendary Edition finally arrived, so I'm in an extremely easily amused mood. You can thank Justicar 06 for this one. Bison is delicious. I'm a big fan of beefalo myself. That's good. I like that. It is always a shame when the subtitles cover up the good action, isn't it? I'm glad to see that these animators know what they're doing. They could have just elevated... Okay, yeah. Damn it, Japan, says Metalcore, as if they don't generate some of the finest entertainment on the planet. Yeah, there you go, White Wolf. Just lift the whole thing. Just lift it all. And there's Chaotic Harmony. When did you slip in here? Who even let you in? How you doing, Chaotic? How are things? What anime is that? I haven't watched it. Airbrush work for tonight. Probably we'll have to touch up the wood scaffolding. Turns out not gluing it into the gnaw-hole terrain for painting means they don't stand up. How odd. The main work there is done. Also chose to undercoat the remaining 17 clan rats until the unit half in hull red. Okay. Half German camo dark brown to see how that changes the appearance. Make a more interesting force. And yes, I know a couple of the scaffolding have a bit that isn't painted at the bottom. That's just going inside the slots in the gnaw holes. So, God, that word makes me uncomfortable. So I just held it from there while airbrushing. Yeah, exposed plastic will be better for gluing anyway. Oh, neat. It's gonna have scaffolding all up around it. That's pretty cool. That's some good solid airbrush work you got going on there, Lore Friendly. I don't airbrush as much as I should. Well, not now, Metalcore. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord is that anime, I believe. Okay, I'm not familiar with it. I watch very few anime. Like, there's some anime that I'm really, really into, but I watch very few of them overall. Some mecha, some really, really, like, hipster old mecha anime, like Fang of the Sun Dugram, I mostly watch it just so when people are like, oh, I watched the latest Gundam, I'll be like, yeah, but did you watch Fang of the Sun Dugram? you've probably never even heard of it. And it makes me feel, better as a person, more valid, more adult, and more worthwhile. And like I haven't wasted my entire life on pop culture, no matter how true that may be. The subtitles being left is entirely within the anime's jokes. Oh, so it's very self-aware then. Dugram. What do you want me to say, Jungle Plague? I'm fine with Dugram. They say it literally both ways. Yes. If you want to say it like the intro, Dugram, and then ching, you gotta have that sound effect as he shoots the laser gun into the air. Oh my god. I never watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. I know it was really popular. I know that, what was the spinoff? Yeah, you can't forget the shing! It's that 80s sound that was just in everything. It had the little laser sound, and then the shing. Korra. Yeah, Korra was really popular too. I never watched them. I don't know. There's a lot that I haven't watched. Oh, here we have from Play and Win. Ooh, this is exciting. After a bit of a hiatus, I'm back with more Marvel Crisis Protocol. This time a release from only a few days ago, Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is expensive, but incredibly potent. Her attacks are mystic, the rarest, and the one with the least defensive tech against... Yeah, okay, this is legit. Having played this game a number of times, there are lots of characters who have, like, really good energy and physical defense, but, like, no mystic defense. And there have just been, like, less than a handful of characters that have mystic attacks or abilities, and it's always kind of frustrating. It's always a little bit frustrating to be like, oh, there's a character that if I had a mystic attack, I could totally fuck him up. Who am I gonna, Doctor Strange? Like, that's pretty much the only guy. So I'm glad that they're finally releasing some more like that. Rarest and one of the least defensive tech, and the one with the least defensive tech against it. Her base attack is strong, and even stronger since she counts skulls as successes. Oh, fuck that. She just cheats. On top of that, she hands out some very notable conditions when rolling skulls. She also has a good terrain throw, hands out even more conditions to anyone who attacks her. My favorite part, though, is that she has a counterspell tactics card to negate an enemy's superpower. Oh, she actually sounds really good. In terms of the paint job, I tried out some new stuff with mixed results. Went with an alternate scheme for Scarlet Witch. Source says Scarlet Witch 2015 number 6. I haven't read any of her individual comics, so I couldn't tell you, as I find her base one uninspiring. I messed up on the cloak and spell, some leaving puddles that could have been avoided if I'd slowed down some. I tried wet blending the contrast on the spell, which worked in some places and not others. I like the pink to red transitions, with the red to purple transition just ended up kind of black. You gotta be careful with that. I think I added too much when I was mixing, should have sapped some off when I was done blending. I have to say, first of all, this is lovely. Yeah, I see what you mean, with the black and the gray, and then just the little bits of red instead of just the overall red costume. First of all, this is quite nice. I think that the black to purple works maybe a little bit better than you're giving it credit for on the spell. It's a little desaturated on the highlights. It turns very, very pale pink, when I feel like maybe what you wanted to shoot for was more of a magenta, almost fluorescent color. What could you mix in to counteract that? I almost want to say more red. That's a tricky color, though. That red to black middle ground, getting from red to magenta, it's a very tricky series of colors. We pondered that a little bit. I'm sure I could come up with something you could do to brighten it a little bit. I almost want to say what you could do is lean green instead of this, because this is a spell effect, because it's like crazy lightning flying. Oh, Jesus, Roland, that's terrible. Because it's like a crazy spell effect that Scarlet Witch is casting, you could keep the red and actually work in some green to the pinkish magenta areas, as if there's like contrasting core to it. Like work, yeah, I think the liquid acrylics would actually be really good on this for just making the colors more vivid. But I almost want to see green in her spell, because she is so red, she's lacking contrast, she's lacking that pop. her cape and her spell, like when I'm looking at it here, actually sort of become the same thing visually in a few areas here. And I feel like you really want the spell to stand out. I don't know if her powers, I think, are always depicted as being red powers that she's doing, but I mean, you don't have to do everything they do in the comic books. And I feel like some green worked in there would look really good and would make all of your reds pop just that little bit more if you wanted to try that play and win. Also, can I just say play and win? First of all, it's always a pleasure when you post to the Storm Report. It's been amazing to watch you continue to progress as a painter. When I met Play and Win, he didn't paint basically at all. And you have a real talent for self-analysis. I like reading your little preface paragraph here because I feel like you've, like, everything that I would say as far as constructive critique, you've already kind of nailed a little bit. The other thing you could do is you could lean all the way into purple for her spell effect. But yeah, exactly, Doer Wildstar. She needs some contrast. Because all of these colors kind of blend together in the end. I think that going with, yellow would be good. I think going with the dark gray, the black costume was a good choice, because you're right, otherwise she's just kind of like, hey, she's Scarlet Witch, and she's wearing a red costume with red accents over some red, and then she's casting a spell, and it's red. Not very interesting. If it were me, I'd go green. I would lean into some things like Reaper Moth Green through to Vallejo Light Livery Green. And, I mean, you don't have to do just green or yellow. I think both green and yellow fading into each other. If you did it like lightning bolts, as if it were the core of the spell, then you could contrast it beautifully against the red that you're using on the rest of it. I don't know if you want to do that, if you feel like going back to it or not, but it would zazz up the whole mini, I think, in a big way. Overall, really nice work, though, Play and Win. I think one of the best that you've done so far. Alright, let's find out if this is going to play. I redid my sound, so this should just play. Let me know if you can hear it or not.
Batman stands next to his Batmobile and uses his Bat computer. He's sometimes Bruce Wayne, sometimes Batman. All times orphan.
I can't hear it.
This is now a safe city. I have punched a penguin into prison. Alfred, Batman's loyal butler,
All right.
carries a tray of goth ham.
I'm sorry. We're going to start this over. We're going to start this over because I couldn't hear the first part of it. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is a dramatic reading of that Chaotic Harmony has done. Yes, this is the bot script. This is the... Now, I don't know how much I believe this. This strikes me as one of those, yeah, that happened kind of stories. But yeah, it's been passing around the internet for a few days that somebody showed a bot like all the Batman movies or all the Batman comics or whatever, and then told it to write a Batman script. And this is what came out the other end. I don't know if I believe that's true, but having read it, it's funny, and I don't really care. So let's have a listen.
Batman stands next to his Batmobile and uses his Bat computer. He's sometimes Bruce Wayne, sometimes Batman. All times orphan. This is now a safe city. I have punched a penguin into prison. Alfred, Batman's loyal butler, carries a tray of goth ham. Eat a dinner, Master Swain. An explosion explodes. The Joker and Two-Face enter the cave. Joker is a clown but insane. Two-Face is a man but attorney. No, it is Two-Face and One-Face. They hate me for being a bat. Batman throws Alfred at Two-Face. Two-Face flips Alfred like a coin. Alfred lands heads up, which means Two-Face goes home. It is just you and I, the Joker. Bat versus clown. Mortal enemies. I am such a freak. Society is bad. You drink water. I drink anarchy. I drink bats just like a bat would. Batman looks around for his parents, but they are still dead. This makes him have anger. He fires a bat rocket. The Joker deflects it with his sixth sense of humor, a clownly power. I have never followed a rule. That is my rule. Do you follow? I don't. Alfred, give birth to Robin. Alfred begins the process since it is his job. The Joker now has a present in his hand. He juggles it over to Batman. Happy Bat Day, Birthman! Batman opens the present since he's a good guy. It contains a coupon for new parents, but it is expired. This is a Joker joke.
It contains a coupon for new parents that is expired. That's, I hadn't actually read through to the end of that one because I saw that Chaotic Harmony said he was going to do a dramatic reading, and I wanted to appreciate it in its fullness. There's a lot of lol so random funny in there, but the crowning achievement of the whole damn thing is it contains a coupon for new parents. It is expired. I want to see that in an actual Batman story. I like that would just work. It is a clownly power. Yeah, you see, like I have my doubts that wasn't just written by someone trying to be funny. Thank you so much. Yes. I have my doubts that wasn't just somebody writing to be funny, and was in fact an AI, or not an AI, but just a bot that they got to write it. But I just don't think I care that much, because that's funny as hell. And of all the stupidity in that would genuinely work in a Batman movie. The Joker giving Batman a coupon for new parents that expired like a month ago. Yeah, that would be magnificent. You drink water, I drink anarchy. Oh my god. Chaotic! That was wonderful, and thank you for sharing that with us today. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you decided to do that. I think I drink anarchy is my new catch. Yeah, I might need to clip one or two specific phrases out of that, Chaotic, for use for reasons. Yeah. Oh, I'm back to the old standby, Berserker. I drank Fat Tire like a bat would. I drink anarchy. Two-Face is a man, but also an attorney. Oh, that was quite pleasant. More from Play and Win. Ended up with a bit more spare time tonight, so I decided to attack a model with one of the simplest paint schemes out there, Daredevil. Now, you could have complicated this more. Now, note this, Play and Win. You could have complicated his paint scheme by going with the original Daredevil yellow and black costume, which if I were painting Daredevil, I probably would. And really what I'm saying is, you know, be more like me, I think, is ultimately the message. I'm just saying that there are alternative color schemes. That's all. Daredevil is a web warrior. He's fast and incredibly durable. That's his affiliation for the purposes of playing the game, not necessarily a reflection of his comic book status. He's fast and incredibly durable. He's got a basic that hands out stun, but perhaps his coolest feature is that he has an area attack, which in addition to hitting every enemy within range, the attack against each enemy gets stronger for every enemy within range. Oh, God. It's got the highest potential dice pool in the game by an order of magnitude. Really? For Daredevil? In a game with like wizards and aliens with superpower guns and shit? Daredevil? Doesn't he beat up like low-level criminals and the occasional mob boss? Whatever. Okay. Yeah, okay. It is what it is. He's a moot killer. Yeah, he's like low-level street crime level hero, but apparently he can deal more damage than Captain America. Okay. I'll be the first to say that the initial core set Captain America is poorly balanced. Well, you know what the problem is, Sumitha? Is that Daredevil is really popular because of the Charlie Cox show. And this is one of the issues. I'm not going to get off on a tangent on this. I just want to say that this is one of the issues that I have with like the Star Wars, Marvel, with in general the pop culture IP miniature games is when you've got your own IP and you give me two characters that respond out of your fucking imagination and you go, this one is at this power level and this one's at this power level. There's nothing that I can say to disprove that. That's simply how it is because you made it up and these characters exist here and that's fine. When you do that with popular characters who exist in pop culture, you introduce people like me going, well, that doesn't seem to make much sense. I read the comic with him and he wasn't that powerful. That seems silly. Jesus, Jungle Plague. We don't allow maths jokes in this stream, sir. You are on warning. It's just that doesn't seem right, does it? I mean, like, it's fine for the sake of the balance of the game, but that seems crazy to me. And I think that it's probably to some degree influenced by the fact that Daredevil is a popular character. And I don't like that influence in game design. And it's one of the reasons that I got away from the Marvel and the Star Wars branded games is I spent a lot of time... I'm still on the mailing list, actually. Nobody tell FFG that I'm still on the mailing list, considering I'm not actually playtesting for them anymore. I doubt any of them will see this stream, but I'm still on the mailing list for the playtest groups for... Let me pull this up so we can actually see the model. For the playtest groups for Star Wars Legion, so I still get updates on that. And I playtested for them for a long time. And I can just tell you right fucking now, if you don't think that the popularity of a character in pop culture, in, you know, the zeitgeist, if you don't think that that has any influence on their balance within the game and the desire of the company to sell more of that model, you're just wrong. It absolutely does. I watched it happen several times, and it was so frustrating to me. It's one of the reasons that I stopped doing the playtesting, is because I had to watch them be like, oh, this character who should be really strong in the universe is going to be average because we don't like him. But then these characters who were in a movie that's super popular that we do like, they're going to get just all the rules in the fucking game. Just all of them. They're just going to be the best because they're popular. And it bugged the shit out of me. Absolutely. Now, that mindless and meaningless bitching aside, this is nice work playing with. It looks like if you didn't do contrast, you did a contrast style shading job on the red. I have to say, good job on getting the red to actually have decent highlights without desaturating it into pink. He does appear to be red through to orange in a few areas, which I think works for Daredevil. You got the old DD on his chest to stand out nicely. I think good work on his face. He has very little skin to work with, but you hit the most important points. Tips of the nose, little bits of his cheek, into the chin, bottom lip. I really like the shading that you did on the tombstone and of course he's kicking off a tombstone off a piece of a Catholic church, because fucking dude's all about Catholicism and guilt and shit. All in all, nice paint job though. No, Berserker, we've been over this. We're not doing that joke. The company that stopped supporting games because their astrologer told them to do it. You're not going to get me to support FFG after they took a shit on Rune Wars. I miss that game so much. As for the paint job, it's literally just a red bodysuit. The model itself is dumb, with his baton shaking wildly if someone even looks at it. It's a quick model to paint, and I feel like it came out fine. Yeah, I could see that, because if you look at it, it's connected here, and then a teeny piece of styrene goes all the way around and over to here. I actually like Daredevil's, what does he call it? He's got a name for it, the stick. And he, like, throws it and has a grapple on one end, and he can swing from stuff, and then he can, like, turn it into nunchucks and beat people up with it. I don't remember the name of it, though. I think it's a neat tool, but this is maybe a little bit extreme. I also have to note that all of Atomic Mass's sculpts have been moving in this insanely hyper-dynamic direction lately. Like, you are hard-pressed to find a model in the last series of releases that is not flying through the air or kicking off something in the middle of a jump. And I wish they'd tone that down a little bit. just a little bit, that would be nice. Hamburg Tack, thank you for the reminder. Yeah, but you know, it's just me complaining about stuff. Ooh, Roland has been working on some heavy gears. I see what you're doing there with the blue head on this one. Which one is this? He's bigger than the other ones, and he's got like tank treads in the front of his little wheelie feet. That's pretty cool. And what is this? Is a medium autocannon that he has on his arm? I don't know how to recognize all the weapons yet. This is a Kodiak. Oh, I've got one of these. I haven't built it yet, but I have one. I know I've got a Kodiak. And then I got a Grizzly and a Kodiak, I want to say. I got a couple extra heavies when I ordered my, doesn't he just call it a billy club? Yeah, I think it might just be a club, Datron. Like, as I think about it, I feel like it had just a really mundane name. That's a particle accelerator. Okay, no, I guess you're right. The Mac would have the stock on the end of it, and it would have a magazine here, and then it would have the round barrel. Well, good work on the grain. I'm digging the what's the word? It's not nomenclature. Not symbolism, symbology that you're going with the different heads on the gears being colored different, depending on what they're intended to do. Yeah, get me that piece, and I'll see what I can't do to get you some custom pieces for the armor, man. Kodiak came with a heavy autocannon if it didn't have the particle accelerator, if I remember correctly. That's probably true. Probably true. Lovely work, Roland, and thank you for sharing. Here we have from Kasala. Made some donut pound cake with raspberry glaze. I'd offer to share, but I don't really want to. Oh. Damn. Who could blame you? I don't like sprinkles. I'm not into sprinkles. But what's under the sprinkles makes me not give a shit about the fact that there are sprinkles, and I would eat this anyway. You don't have to share, Kursala. You don't have to share. You just have to make me one at some point in the future. I don't think it would really do all that well getting shipped anyway. Ew, sprinkles. My sister doesn't like sprinkles either. Oh my god. That looks like a heart attack. Yeah, I can feel my heartbeat slowing. I can feel my blood thickening just looking at it. And you had to make 2 of them for some reason, you absolute animal. Well, it looks delicious either way. Oh, here we have from White Wolf. Posing this guy is fun for some reason. MG Zaku 2 version 2.0 initial build is done. I wasn't sure what I was expecting. But I like it. Remarkably posable. It's like the finger articulation is impressive, but I have to tell you what I'm most impressed with is that it is capable of achieving this full kneel. This is not easy. Having the thigh come this far up, far enough up that the foot is able to rest flat on the ground while the other knee also, like, this is an impressive amount of articulation. Most model kits don't get anywhere close to this. Really, really nice. Big Daddy Silver, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Storm Chasers. Full kneels are possible in most master grade. Apparently, I need to get myself a master grade kit of something, because none of the models I've built have been capable of this level of articulation. And, you know, also back at you with the double deuce. It's looking pretty good. And this is just raw plastic, isn't it? It's well colored. You don't really need to do much else to it, I suppose. I guess that's probably the point, since model building is like its own hobby outside of then doing paint jobs. Well, wonderful build on that, White Wolf, and thank you so much for sharing your joy and the pleasure of posing with us today. Here we have from Drakari. Does it look like I'm printing some kind of aircraft to anyone else? Should be about 8 hours in on this print by the time Thunderhead sees it, so more Mecha G parts and progress coming next Storm Report. Also, someone hit the table she was standing on while vacuuming, and she fell over. So starting the tail when these are done. Hopefully it'll give a decent tripod to keep her upright. Wish the designer would have kept both feet flat, would have really helped. Any recommendations on adhesives for binding PLA printed parts together? Not sure my Gorilla Glue Plastruct plastic weld are keeping the little lady together. Super glue works pretty well. I also recommend epoxy. Like, even 5-minute epoxy works pretty well. Drakari. What are you making? Is it a... What is this? I see the beginning of tree supports forming. What is it going to be? The shape is familiar. Oh, it's from EVE Online? I've probably seen it, but I wouldn't know the name of it then. If it's from EVE Online. Looks like the helicarrier. Oh. You can tell me, Drakari. I'm not gonna spoil nothing for nobody. I'm very curious, I have to admit. Lots of tree supports forming. So I'm estimating that, yeah, its bottom is here, and then it's going to have elevated wings, and that looks like more supports for, like, rotors in here. The other 3 wings and the 2 back cannons. I don't know! Oh my god! Wait, no, this is a cannon, see, no, these are 2 opposing shapes here. It looks like these are guns. And then these look like rotors. Is it one piece, or is this multiple pieces that are going to be assembled? I don't know. You have mystified me, sir. And yeah, epoxy is a damn good choice. Wish the designer would have finished / released the associated base. I don't think I can make anything this cool or intricate. Though this would take so long to print, even in just parts. Just the hexagon would probably end up being over 1 foot by 1 foot. It looks cool, though. Oh, it's Mechagodzilla pieces. Oh, it's side fins for Mechagodzilla's VTOL capabilities? Is that a thing that Mechagodzilla's had in the past? Is this just a Mechagodzilla that he designed on his own? Because I don't recognize it, the specifics of it from anything, but it's fucking cool. Oh, are these meant to be like jet fighters that are flying in to try to attack him? Is that part of the model? Because if so, that's badass. But you're saying he didn't release this base. This would not be hard to make. This would be a relatively simple base to put together if you wanted one for him to stand in like this. Need measurements, obviously, but it could be done. Maybe not an hour, White Wolf. It would take a little bit more than an hour, but it could be done. Design off some fan art. I think it's an original. They're supposed to be fighter jets. Yeah, that's cool. I like this effect. The fighter jets coming in and him essentially just ignoring them until they get within tail swipe range. Already got the ruined buildings. We got 1 or 2. That's going to be a damn cool build, though, Drakari. I mean, I knew you were doing Mechagodzilla, but looking at that, I was like, Mechagodzilla doesn't have rotors. As it turns out, I was mistaken. And there you go. Just use Trinity City. You could do that. You could just make Trinity City buildings and have him busting through those. They look a little less modern, but then he is a giant robotic lizard, so I guess it would fit. Here we have from Ion Raptor, starting on the next custom mech, courtesy of Jungle Plague's hidden sketching abilities. Ooh. We're going to go through each section of the mech one by one, with him sketching details out, me modeling it, and then making changes as necessary. So far I have the first draft of the arm done, which could very well change as the rest of the model comes together. Special thanks to Sumitha for his input and reminders to save my damn files. That is an important reminder. Ooh, I like the look of this. I like the big chunky ammo chain you got going on here. I've always liked this style of like stretched hexagon for weapon cowlings too. I like how it looks like it might actually kind of recoil back into the sleeve when it fires. Ooh, that's a good looking weapon. And this is what we're going for in the end, huh? Fins for flight, jump jets, medium lasers, air intake. Well, I look forward to seeing this continue to develop. The fact that you guys are working together is exciting as hell. Split barrels always look cool. You have a point. That's some good looking work you got there, Ion Raptor. I am impressed. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing this one come together, just to find out how your dual workflow has gone. I started to say something and it just... Fuck. You know how hard this is? This bullshit that I do. This right here. I just wanted to tell you guys, this right here, the Storm Report, this is the hardest that I worked during a stream. Well, thank you, White Wolf. It's hard. It's hard saying all these goddamn words and not tripping over my own tongue. I didn't say I work hard, I said it's the hardest work I do, and there is a functional difference. Happy Man O'Coral, how you doing, by the way? Alright, let's take a look. From Zombie Brush Studios. That's what I was trying to say. I was trying to say Zombie Brush Studios, and I just went, bleh. And then it continued. Buzz Lightyear animation style work in progress. He's even equipped with his glow-in-the-dark green panels. You've got a friend in me. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Very nice, Zombie Brush. Those colors are so... Ooh. Is he gonna get like the little grav wings? Or are we going for like a whole Buzz... Oh, he's on a plinth. So this isn't even a play model. This is a display figure, is it? Took me a second to realize he wasn't on a regular base. That's a murderous Buzz Lightyear. He's leaping through the air, about to stab somebody through the damn throat. Woof. He feels like he needs wings, though. Like, it's somehow incomplete if he doesn't have... Like, you could do the little grav flaps that go on the backpack, right? That is a hell of a color that you got there. Zombie Brush, what green is that you're using there? Is it like an actual glow-in-the-dark fluorescent? Lovely work. Guys, if you're not following Zombie Brush, by the way, one of the best super stylized painters here on Twitch, and definitely somebody whose channel you should be following. What are these orange bros in the background? Have I seen them? I'm curious about them. Oh, lovely looking work. Very, very clean. I like the slightly warm white that you've gone with here. I like all the little scratches and battle damage, and that green is really... That's Pro-Acryl green with a secret sauce added. I don't know if I want to know about that. Gene Stealer Cults. I was thinking maybe that based on this guy, because he looks like he's rocking one of those heavy stubbers. He looks like one of the big Gene Stealer Cultists. Very curious to see those as well, Zombie Brush. Ooh, we got a movie. Oh my lord. He glows in the dark. Or at least under a UV light. That's cool. That's really neat. That must be the special sauce. Well done. Ion Raptor taking off. Ion Raptor, you have a fantastic night, my friend. Thank you so much for being here, dude. It's always a pleasure to see you in chat. Here we have from Larabic. Wicked happy with how this turned out. Played my first game of this on Sunday. Hope to play again Thursday. Looks like we have a little bit more of that Marvel Crisis Protocol. Larabic, these look nice. Good coloration on Magneto. The coolest thing I've seen somebody do for a custom modification on Magneto is somebody did, and is arguably controversial just because the subject matter is really dark, but I feel like the subject matter for Magneto is just dark, like it's part of his character. Somebody did, because he has these, you know, magnetism markers, whatever they're called. They're just debris that he manipulates. Somebody did those, but what they are is he custom made the gates of, I want to say Auschwitz, where they had, you know, work will set you free above the gates. He did those gates, but they were ripped apart and, like, rent into, like, you know, Magneto was grabbing them and pulling them apart with his magnetic powers, and those were his markers, and it was just really cool. What with, you know, Magneto being a Holocaust survivor and all. Like I said, slightly controversial material, I suppose, just because it is kind of dark, but it's also such an integral part of his character that I actually found it pretty cool. My feet, good to see you, man. Nice work on this, though, Larabic. I really like the taxi cab yellow that you've got here on the door. Really nice red that you've chosen for Magneto, too. He needs kind of a dark red to counteract that weird lavender purple that he loves so much. Good job overall. Nice look on the bases. And thank you for sharing. We got a lot of Marvel Crisis Protocol tonight. Here we have from Roland. We got some more progress, it looks like. Oh, this isn't progress. This is... What happened, Roland? What happened? Is this because I complimented the last few things that you've posted? Did you just not get the reaction that you wanted to out of the last ones? So you just decided to burn it all down? Just go for the worst thing you could I hate this. I hate everything about this, so thank you for that. Thank you so much. From Rogue19K, doesn't get more not safe for work and unsolicited than this. Wait. Should I click on this? Well, my mods haven't deleted it, so I'm going to assume that it's okay. Do it no balls. Jesus Christ, Mafik! What? Do it no balls. You fucking monster. Ooh. It's a teeny picture, though. Even when I blow it up, it's a teeny... But what is this? A deck for ants? It's a lovely looking deck, I have to say, though. The stain is gorgeous. Looks very, very fresh. Is this some recent work of yours, Rogue? Because I'm a little jealous. That's a gorgeous deck. How much of this was you? Because if this is all some work that you did, I am very impressed. Very, very impressed. It is a display of intense wealth, or at least a good amount of elbow grease. Very nice. I'm a little baffled by it, but I like it. Well, let's see what we got here from Stoneflesh. Have we had a submission from Stoneflesh before? I don't know that we have. Deck pecs? It's a deck. Oh, it's a deck pick. It's a joke. It's a very stupid joke that took me a minute to get. Alright, that's it. We're not doing the Storm Report anymore. This is getting out of hand. This is from you, Graham. Oh, okay. Let's see. Howard from Black Rose Wars. Not a range I'm familiar with. Oh, it's a little picture. I can't blow it up anymore.
Welcome, everyone.
I wish it was bigger.
To Thunderhead Studios, where the only rule is...
Please don't show me your genitals.
Have fun, be safe, and above all...
Don't show them to me, for the love of God. No dick pics, no deck pics. Pretty please. I have to say, I do like the paint job on this, though. The really, really pale skin tone. It looks like you hand-did these 3 crosses on his chest. This character looks fucking horrifying. This is like something out of Silent Hill. Does that book have a face in it? Is he wielding the Necronomicon in one hand and a sacrificial dagger in the other? Because that's what I'm getting from this. And it looks like he's covered in ropes. What is happening? Oh, it's Lovecraftian. Oh, okay, so that is at least on purpose. That's something. I like the basing. Looks like we've got some flowers down here. It looks like flowers. Now I'm concerned it could be like, I don't know, something gross. It looks like flowers from this range. I would love it. Graham, if you could get a larger photo of this and post it in the showcase, because the photo is physically a little bit small for me to make out all the detail, and I would love to take a closer look at this mini to really take in the whole thing. But from what I can see of it, I really, really like the 3 bloody crosses on his chest. That's nicely done. Here we have from Cybran Knight, our very own Metalcore Collectibles, who, by the way, if you're curious about Metalcore Collectibles products, you can always hit ! Metalcore right here in chat to get a link over to his work if you're into 6mm sci-fi, even a little bit. It's the kind of thing you need to check out. Back after a bit of a hiatus while working on the other projects, but it took some time to get the first prototypes of the Fusillade out of the printer. And here we are. I had hoped to maybe have some for the shop anniversary on the 20th, but looks like that timeline got shot into space. Isn't that how it always goes? Overall, very little to complain about with the first prototype. Most of the parts fit together well. That's good. Details came through. Magnets worked as intended. These sound like all the important bits. I really, really like the offset guns on this guy. Just one gun is set a little bit further back than the other one. First of all, it gives it some decent flexibility to rotate back like this, but it's just, I don't know what it is about it. I guess it's because in my head I see these weapons like shifting position when they fire. You know, one blows back and the other goes forward, the other blows back and the other goes, like that's just what I see in my head. It doesn't look like it actually shifts based on the way it's connected back here, but you know, since it's a static piece, my imagination really governs what happens at all with all this stuff. I choose to believe that that's how it works. Lovely magnet work. But it can all be better. So went in and made a bunch of tweaks, mostly small details that just felt a bit off once I had the tank in the flesh. Sadly, V2 is sitting in the printer and won't be done until post-stream. Anyways, back to prepping for the MCC anniversary on Thursday. Congratulations on that, by the way, Metalcore. I really like your renders because it's such a great example to show to people, like, you need to exaggerate your details. You need to exaggerate your panel lines if you want them to come out well at this scale. So many people are way too soft on it, and it just doesn't look as good as it should. Jungle Plague, thank you so much for being here, man. It's always a pleasure to have you in chat. It's always a pleasure to see your work. I hope you have a great night. Absolutely fantastic work, Cybran, and thank you for sharing. I look forward to seeing the version 2 when you get it rolled off the old assembly line. Here we have from Sumitha. The majority of the art for Operation Lancaster is by artist Matt Plog. As we all know, given Thunderhead's tendency to gush, I do a little bit. The other artist involved in the project is Australian artist Alan Blackwell, who is responsible for the astonishingly intricate and generally just plain awesome cover art that I've been hanging in a 40-inch wide, downsized print over my television. The other art in Operation Lancaster that Mr. Blackwell did was that of a set of 8 pre-existing designs that he was kind enough to allow me to license for use in the project. In this case, they are all used as clan designs, and they are drawn in a similar fashion to the original 3050 technical readout where we first saw Clan Omnimex. If the genetic legacy of an awesome and a champion were mixed together, is the beginning of a joke shared by most Trueborn clan warriors discussing the Rystar Battle Mech, from the technical readout article featuring the 85-ton Rystar Assault Battle Mech. This 85-ton monster may have somewhat curious features and proportions, but even after the introduction of the far more iconic Warhawk/Masakari Assault Omni-Mech of the same weight, the Rystar still demands respect. Its quad extended range particle projector cannons and twin extended range medium lasers make for a devastating burst fire capability. However, even with more than 50 double heat sinks to cool it, its cooling system is beyond tax to dissipate the heat produced when all of its weapons are fired simultaneously. But it can make great use of its jump jets to reposition rapidly to cool down when pushed too hard, allowing for considerable flexibility in combat. Make no mistake, it certainly has its limitations, but the Rystar is a terrifying opponent to encounter on the battlefield. What happened to my voice just then? What was that? I have no idea, just, okay. Yeah, big ugly boy. It's got, it has Crimson Typhoon's legs. Well, it was kind of a bit of what it was, wasn't it, Riot Sister? Yeah, the cadence there was kind of Lance Reddick. That was weird. Speaking of which, Riot Sister, if you like Lance Reddick, go watch The Guest. He's in it and he's great. Those are Crimson Typhoon's legs. Sumitha, please feel free to correct me. But I'm not wrong. I'm gonna have to go look at a picture of Crimson Typhoon. Are the feet different? I would swear that was how Crimson Typhoon's feet were designed, with the separated toes and everything like that. Hamburg, thank you. I was slouching like crazy. Ugh. This armless monster. It's a wonderful piece of art, though. Really like the profile. Incredibly aggressive. It looks like such a bizarre combination between a jet fighter and a proper mech. Torso looks like one of the Aliyah cores in Armored Core 4. I have a terrible admission to make. I've never played any of the Armored Core games. That's not strictly true. I have played an Armored Core game, the number of which I cannot recall, once, and I'm pretty sure the Berserker was there when I did it. And that means that it was like over 10 years ago. And I know I probably just lost a lot of street cred and a lot of respect in the eyes of my audience, but it's true. I haven't. I don't know what to tell you. Well, it's a lovely piece of art, and thank you so much for sharing that with us, Sumith. I always love seeing some art that you had done. Here we have from Mafik, the M3 Lee Nico tank. Complete with the pose and everything, with the pigeon toes and the inward angled knees. It's adorably dangerous, isn't it? First concept was supposed to be an M3 Grant, but the Lee is okay, so I redrew the howitzer to 75mm pounder side made gun. Pound side made gun. Main gun. I can't say main right now for some reason. Melee Nico tank. Armored Core is an acquired taste. It's pretty fast with a silly controller scheme. Oh yeah, it's kawaii as fuck, bro. Yeah, with the main gun kind of over here. It looks like her hand is just sort of shoved into a turret. But then we have like what looks like a stock sticking out from behind here. And yeah, it's so kawaii right here. So cute. Ignore the fact that she can apparently blast you into pieces. I like the, it looks like we have the inclusion of, like diesel exhausts on the backs of the leg plates here. I like your style, Mafik. I like your style. It's not necessarily my own, but that's not why we share art. Because if everything was what you would do, it would all be pretty fucking boring, wouldn't it? This is... all the cute girl tanks are just hilarious to me for whatever reason. I know that there's like a show called, what is it, like... something versus Panzer that's all about cute girls driving tanks, and people keep telling me I should watch this, and I just can't bring myself to do it. There you go. That's the one, Sumitha. I've never seen it. I know that it exists. I'm familiar, weirdly, with the tendency for people to, like, combine cute girls and tanks and battleships and shit in the last... I guess, I was gonna say the last few years, but I guess that's probably pretty dated at this point. Goofy, but very fun. Yeah, that seems to be what it would be. Well, lovely, lovely art, Mafik, and thank you as always for sharing. I'm gonna have to pop over into the 2D showcase, see if you posted it over there. Here we have from Chewy. Rough paint job on a random 3D printed mini to test out a color scheme idea I have for my Marcher World stuff for Warcaster. Serious critiques absolutely welcome. I like this. I like this a lot. This is a good color scheme. It looks like the gray you have here has a little bit of warmth to it. And then we're using this vivid magenta pink as our glow color. I would definitely lean into the warmth here because these colors are so cool between blue and green. It looks like there's a touch of yellow here, and this is something that, if you want serious critique, this is something that I would want you to lean into. Wait for the lolly head, sir. Oh. What did I skip? What did I skip, Kursala? Oh, label your damn paint. Yes, okay. So I don't go trying to mix acrylics into oils again? Yeah, that's probably good advice. I want yellow. I want yellow in here. Like, okay, if you look right here, it looks like maybe your paints went on a little bit thin and it looks a little bit yellow. But here's the thing. If you come in here periodically and introduce the occasional transition to a yellow color, a little bit of warmth in all this, because, okay, the magenta, the pink, the red pink, is very warm as your glow color, and I think it's well used. It contrasts beautifully. But on your blue-green sections, if you occasionally bring the highlight as high as yellow, like say on the top of his head, on the tip of the gun here, if you did maybe a touch of it on the inside of the elbow, and I'm talking pick 3 to 4 places across the whole model, and bring it, blend it out to a yellow, this blue-green is going to pop like fucking crazy. This is a great paint scheme. I like the inclusion of the magenta on the base, too, to balance it out. I might, for the foliage, now you're using some pre-done stuff here, so it might not be as much of an option, it might be difficult, but if you could do yellow grass or foliage, would be good. Even more yellow than livery green. Maybe. Start with livery green and see what it looks like, and then see if you want to push it maybe even further towards like a canary or even a gold yellow. That, and maybe some warmth in your shadows. Not a lot, but if you had a little bit of warmth, like a sienna, here in the shadow between where the gun and the arm come together, it would separate these two pieces more. It would be a fairly simple thing to do, to just wash a little bit of like a deep amber into your shadows. And I think that it would just make, because it's just the color is so vibrant, and I really want each individual part to pop. I really want each individual part to be visible, and I think that that warmth is how you're going to do it. I'm thinking like a little bit of red almost in your shadow here, and then a little bit of yellow in your highest highlights. I think that could look really fucking cool. This scheme is great, though. Honestly, like, I'm excited to see your marchers with this color scheme, whether you do that or not. This is nice. I do feel like the green foliage might be a mistake for the basing. I feel like you might want something different, like an actual straw yellow, I think would actually contrast this really, really well. Didn't panel line or go deep into the shadows or whatever. Yeah, and that's why it's probably, like right here, in the deepest part of this shadow, a little bit of warmth. Not a lot. You'd be surprised. Like, it's easy to add more. It's difficult to take it away. So just work into, like, a sienna or even a rust brown right in the deepest part of the shadow, and you'll get this really lovely contrast all the way across the piece. If you got that sienna, that rust over here, and then coming out almost to a yellow at the very edge over here, you're going to wind up with this really... Because you're going for a really vibrant style. And I feel like that is just going to complement what you're already doing. It's clear here that you don't want desaturated colors. You want something saturated, vibrant, vivid, striking, eye-catching. And I think that would do it. Hoping the foliage would convey that the green of the armor was sort of a camouflage within a vibrant green jungle. You could do that. I think that if you keep the green foliage, but you do the color temperature tricks that we're talking about here, that would probably work. Because that way, it would both be the color, and it wouldn't blend in visually quite so much. Which, doing camouflage on minis is always tricky, because the idea of camouflage is to blend in and to break up shapes of your body. But if you blend something in miniature, and you break up the shapes of the body, you can't really see the features of the mini when you're playing with it on the table. It's a odd dichotomy. Yeah, camouflage accomplishes precisely the opposite of what you would ideally want to do when creating a striking miniature. Also, I have to point out the irony of a man wearing camouflage while glowing magenta, though I suppose maybe that blends into the environment a little bit based on this down here. Yeah, Steela did some camo recently in oils, and yeah, you were talking about that too. You have to do camo, but you want the camo to stand out, which is the opposite of what you want camo to do? You don't have to. You can do true camo and blend it in. I just don't think it ever works as well as people want it to. It's very rare that it does. Yeah, I could dig that, Chewy. I hope that that's helpful. My ramblings. I hope that has given you some ideas. Here we have from Osri, the ongoing saga of this non-metallic metal catastrophe. Mad props to Teal Security for helping me. Still a lot of work to be done. You ever saw a purple orc? I have, actually, weirdly. Oh, yeah, it's looking better. More refined now. We got some more details going in. Digging the NMM that we have right here around the gorget. Oh, excuse me. Looks like we have some more complex colors being worked into the shuriken catapult. Actually helping me see it a little bit better. I like the inclusion of the gold down here. Looks like we've smoothed a little bit of the purple up here, or maybe it's just small and I can't tell. One of the two is definitely popular. Possible, not popular. What am I saying? God, that vibrant blue. Oh, that vibrant blue. It looks like you've worked a little bit on the cloak, too. That's popping like crazy. I'm liking the non-metallic. I can see mostly the non-metallic metalwork right here on the gorget. And this looks good. All the lighting looks well placed. We have the top edge, we have a deep shadow under it, and then we have the edge highlights coming down here, sort of describing the shape of the gorget as it goes down. Yeah, this is looking pretty damn good, Asri. I'm liking it. Teal Security is a fantastic, absolutely fantastic painter, and if he gives you advice, you should definitely take it. Smooth out the cloak and put on highlights. Yeah, this looks better. This looks better, and it looks like your shading actually goes almost into purple territory before coming out to sky blue, and this contrast between the lowest and the highest point really helps you see the shape of everything. So much of miniature painting can be counterintuitive because it's the sort of thing that doesn't necessarily look the best when it's right up in your face, but you want it to look good when it's at roughly arm's length. I always tell people, when you're painting a miniature, always take time, stop after every half hour to an hour, and hold the miniature at arm's length and ask yourself, how does it look from this distance? Because that's the distance you're generally going to see it from. Unless you're painting a competition piece or a display piece, something like that. But I mean, if you're painting minis to play with, just remember it's almost always going to be seen from 3 to 5 feet away. And that's where you want it to really come into focus. Someone I know uses camo on the cloth parts of their mini but leaves other parts normal. The camo is urban, so it kind of sticks out. Yeah, that can work too. That's sort of similar to what Steela did. very recently. Well, lovely, lovely work, and I'm glad to see that progressing. Oh, Skull Fairy posted the double rainbow, the lovely evening. Forgive the okay photo, please. Oh. Yeah, we've, it doesn't look that nice over here. Also, your trees are much more alive than mine are right now. I wonder what the deal is there. I suppose eventually we'll get some leaves. Maybe? Lovely sky. What does it mean? You know the double rainbow guy died? This happened a little while ago, and I was like, oh no, it's the end of an era. Because you fucking live in Colorado. You might have a point. Yeah, that dude died recently. I say recently, it might have been a while ago. My sense of time is all thrown off. 2020 fucked me up good. Here we have from White Wolf. Something more blue. By the way, Skull Fairy, thank you so much for taking that photo and posting it after I've requested it. Very, very kind of you. Wicked Opaque Phalo Blue is now down on all the blue things. I suspect I'm going to have to order in a large mask. I suspect it is supposed to put a decent amount of pressure. Half an inch from where your nose meets your skull. Yeah, you want it to fit snug, but not so snug that it's denting your face. That is a nice, rich blue. Holy crap. Really loving the detailing you have over here. I think all these... when this board is assembled, it's going to look fantastic. The colors are already vivid as hell. It's been delightful to get to watch this come together a step at a time. And when the day comes that we get to see the whole board built and Infinity figures splayed out on it, man, that will be the day, Skull Fairy. I really do appreciate it. How you doing, Skull Fairy? I like that you guys hang out in chat. It really means a lot. It feels very nice. But that is going to bring us to the end of the Storm Report, and as many of you might guess, to the end of tonight's stream. I forgot to center my text, but it's centered automatically. That's excellent. I guess I didn't have to tell you that I forgot to do that. I could have just let that go, and you never would have known that I secretly fucked something up. But, you know, here we are. We just kind of have to deal with that. Refocus my camera there a little bit. Ah, man, oh man, oh man. Who are we rating tonight? Let's find out, shall we? Who is on? Who is doing what? Don't play that. Megapedia's going. Chaotic Harmony. Is he painting? Chaotic Harmony's painting. He's painting. We're rating Chaotic Harmony. We are absolutely rating Chaotic Harmony because I never get to do that. Bing, bang, and boom. Let's get that going. I'm gonna try to say everything I want to say before the countdown runs out, because last stream you might have noticed I was still talking when it ran out because I just wasn't paying the fucking attention, which is a little bit embarrassing. That's not a problem I usually have. I usually get it kind of just right. Oh my god, you guys, thank you. Thank you to everybody who came out tonight. Thank you to the new followers. Thank you for the resubs. You guys, it's always a pleasure to have new people in chat. And thank you to everybody who contributed to the Storm Report. I absolutely love seeing what you guys are working on. And a huge thank you, as always, to my incredible mod team, to Riot Sister, to Kursala, to Project Dark Fox. You guys absolutely make the stream possible. And it seems like that loses meaning because I say it like every single time, but I say it every time because it hasn't been any less true each and every time than it was the time before it, since we got started with all of this. And Skull Fairy, thank you also so much for taking that picture for me. It warmed my heart a little bit. Big Daddy Silver, I'm glad that you had fun, and I hope to see you again. We do lots of different games here. Occasionally we even play some video games. We are going to be back Thursday, May the 20th, painting some Battletech in oil. Then we'll be back Sunday the 23rd, doing Conquest, the Last Argument of Kings, also in oil. And then we're doing some Warcaster on Tuesday. I'm going to go get something to eat, you bunch of people. I'm going to send you to Chaotic Harmony. Please stick around. You will love his stream, I promise. Until next time, keep on painting.